Poisonrana.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for Poisonrana, the podcast. You found us in whatever podcast app you are using, and we are live.
Live at youtube.com/@PoisonRanaPod. How are we doing?
Hello. Yes, it's Sunday, meaning everyone's hanging out with their Lord and Savior, the NFL.
Yep, they've just worshipped Jesus Christ. They're going home to a roast dinner or some wings. They're going to watch some football of all sorts.
Yeah, Sundays are back in North, not just Canada, and not just the US, North America.
Or you like us and you don't give a shit about sport and you've come to watch your favorite podcasters live.
That's right.
Talk about wrestling.
You can always find us on YouTube, and the live videos are in the playback there. You can always, I don't know if for anyone, like for me, I'm a usual podcast listener when I'm on the go. That's my listening, habits. But some people like to, put on the YouTube, cast it to their screen while they're cooking or whatever. So
having a bath.
Hey, yeah, we've gotten that before.
Yeah,
we've gotten some odd listening habits. But however you listen, welcome and thank you for listening. And what's going on?
Not a whole lot, really. I think it's been a really actually busy week in wrestling. A lot going on. AEW with a stacked week. WWE Releases that we're going to talk about. Business maneuvers and all that. But yeah, personally, not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot. Yeah, I can't think. I worked a lot this week. Our shoot jobs, we worked a lot.
I finished season 1 of Severance. That was very
okay.
good. Yeah. I thought there was season 2 out already, so I was a little mad.
Oh, okay.
So I'm back to Only Murders now.
Right, I have to...
Watching Meryl Streep ham it up.
Is that the third season?
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta catch... I've watched only a few of those, but I gotta catch up.
All right.
I restarted Ted Lasso with my girlfriend. She wanted
Okay.
to... Since being in London.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
like, oh, I want everyone... Because British people were pretty positive about Ted Lasso, by the way. Most
Oh, I've heard mixed.
British people I talked to about it were like, oh, yeah, it's fine. It's cool, yeah.
Yeah. I think the main thing is it's like you just wouldn't have a Premier League team like Richmond.
No.
But I think if we go back, we got to go to Richmond next time.
Yeah,
It's kind of one thing we didn't really do.
Yeah, so I gotta catch up because I actually haven't watched season 3 yet of it, so I'm gonna like build up and catch up on that. But yeah, I'm trying to think. We did some wrestling, not wrestling, obviously always wrestling. We watched a lot of wrestling this week, but I went axe throwing.
Oh, how's that?
I actually wasn't bad.
You're shocking me here.
I was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Nice.
I came second in like a little tournament, and then I was like, I got a little bit better.
All right.
And then like played even better in the next tournament, just washed people. So I'm like, maybe I should give it a shot.
I went once a few years ago, and it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
First time I did it, it was. Did you do the start with two-handed and then go one-hand?
So first I started overhand, and I was like, okay, and I could do it pretty well. But then as soon as I learned the one-handed, I was like, no, this is way cooler. I don't want to do that. It looks like I'm gonna murder someone.
Yeah.
This I'd rather look cool and go.
I just find it weird that it's. Were you guys were drinking at the same time?
Like I had a few, yeah. One or
Because
two.
I went, we were like shooting whiskey and throwing axes.
see, I
and you're
wouldn't be
like,
able to do
how
that.
is this? How is this allowed?
I was questioning another group like across the thing, being like, wow, those people are throwing axes, but like I keep seeing them going back to the bar. I'm like, I don't think I'd be able to do that.
When I was in Texas, I went to a shooting range.
Oh, shit.
And
yeah,
that is, I mean, especially when you hear about, America with their guns, it's kind of a bit alien to us Brits and Canadians. But yeah, I'm at this thing. I was like, cool, I'm with my cousins. Like, I trust them. I don't know who the fuck this guy is with a semi-automatic, like 10 feet away from me.
pretty fucking scary.
I mean, we weren't drinking when we were doing that, but still, it's. I don't know. It's whenever you hold something like, even if it's like a sharp kitchen knife or whatever, it's like you're holding these axes and like the power in your hand.
Okay, I wasn't drinking.
I sound psychopathic right now, but you know what I mean. Right?
I showed up, and then like I was a little late, like a few minutes late, and everyone was kind of already getting the like whole spiel about like, welcome to axe throwing, this is the rules and all this. So I come in like a little late, and my girlfriend, we're getting there, and she kind of looks at me, she's like, you're high as shit, aren't you? I'm like, no. She's like, you're gonna be throwing an axe. I'm like, I'm fine. So I waited a bit, got a lesson, and then had a beer, and then I kind of was like, oh, I can do this. And then when I started doing the one-handed, I started getting good at it. I'm like, oh, okay. I look like I chop trees down with an axe, but throwing axes, it's gotten popular.
I do like sometimes it comes on like on one of the sports channels at work when we put a game on or whatever, and then it goes on to Timber Sports.
Right, yeah.
I actually find that really fun to watch.
Be strong and talented.
Way more interesting than baseball.
Yeah.
You know, like
how fast can these teams cut down a tree?
Cut down a tree. The ones where they're like kind of climbing the tree as well and chopping it
Real
down.
men.
Yeah.
Real manly shit. So you're saying we should do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because after this
Timber Sport. I mean, you look more like a Timber Sports man than I do.
You grow your beard out.
I'm gonna have to come October.
Yeah, you're growing your beard out for the next few weeks because
I mean, don't spoil it. I know what you're like with spoilers. You're like, I'm not gonna say who he is, but let me just tell you that he's done X, Y, and Z. Wink, wink. And I'm like, fuck's sake.
All right, we won't spoil. But we are working on our Halloween costumes.
Yeah.
And if you know us, we enjoy spooky season and Halloween and everything. And past few years, we've had some fun with our costumes. So, yeah, we're working on them.
Yeah, it should be good. I've started early this year.
Right.
I want to make sure everything arrives.
You're pretty last minute for Halloween. Like
usually
you go down to the.
I'm just like if I'm seeing the stuff like because some things take a while on Amazon. I'm like, all right, well let's get that in early, and then being just like popping into Black Market and places like that. I'm like, oh, that will do. So, I'm pretty happy.
I still have to get a bunch of stuff, but mine's not as hard as yours, so I'll be all right. Be okay.
Yeah,
I trust myself.
You can make it cool though, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
We are live on YouTube right now. Unfortunately, the super chats option isn't there right now. Just a little thing we're having with YouTube, and we've got to verify a few things. So if you do want to super chat us, save it for Tuesdays when we go live on Post Wrestling. And John and Way are very nice and give us 100% of the super chats. So you can double up your super chats on Tuesday.
That's right.
With our Up Next review live on the Post Wrestling YouTube.
Ask us a question about scripts and Lucian Price and Chase U.
Exactly.
Or
that means you can message us for free today, as Chris Elliott, Cameron, and Jake are all doing right now.
Nice.
So, hello guys.
People. Hello. Thank you for listening and supporting, as of all you people out there. Yeah, we record a lot of shows, and something else I want to say. I think I mentioned it a few weeks ago, but the Spotify, for any Spotify users, or maybe people who haven't used Spotify but wanted to make the switch, I learned that Patreon and Spotify kind of linked up and did this like whole thing where our Patreon shows can now show up on Spotify, and it looks super cool and works really easy. So I'd recommend trying it out because it lets you look at the shows and like read the descriptions and everything, and then once you get behind the paywall, it unlocks it there for you.
Yeah, it's a good way if you want to if you haven't subscribed to us and you kind of want to have a look at what there is on our Patreon, because we've done hundreds and hundreds of shows on there now. You can flick through there. It's a little bit easier to go through than our actual Patreon site. So go through, see if any shows kind of take your interest, and maybe take the dive.
Yeah.
It's only $5.
Only $5. You get access to all these podcasts that we do in our back catalog there, with tons of NXT reviews, movie reviews, pay-per-view reviews, including just this week, we just put out an Up Yours where a family member patron, shout out Justin, the lawyer from New York, who basically he wanted to escape from New York for a little bit, and that's what we reviewed. John Carpenter's Escape from New York with Kurt Russell, Snake effing Plissken. Yeah, I thought you were dead.
Technically, shouldn't it it should be Escape from Manhattan, shouldn't
Escape from Manhattan.
Because they escaped from Manhattan to New York.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, same thing. Yeah.
Semantics.
Yeah. So we reviewed that movie this week over on our Patreon, which was pretty cool, going through that classic with tons of crazy cameos, and of course, Donald Pleasance as the president, the British president. So we reviewed that. That was a good podcast. This week, we are going to be looking at, we're in the spirit of No Mercy next week, and we're going to be looking at a classic No Mercy from 1999 featuring the ladder match, the tag ladder match, but then Austin and Undertaker? No.
Is it Triple H Rock?
Triple H Rock, sure.
I don't remember. Let's have a look.
We just said basically any of those two is probably in a main event around that time at some capacity.
Triple H Austin.
Triple H Austin. There we go.
Yeah, no holds barred match. You got X-Pac v Bradshaw, Farouk, and Kane. Looking forward to that one. Val Venus versus Mankind. Rock versus British Bulldog, China v Jeff Jarrett
Yeah.
in the Good Housekeeping match.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we'll have a lot to talk about with Jarrett, I'm guessing, with this pay-per-view. And I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about the video game as well.
Excellent. Yeah. So looking forward to that review. That will be out this week over on our Patreon. I think we're recording that on Wednesday. So look for that possibly Thursday morning for you patrons there. But yeah, go check that out. And hey, if you like free stuff, that's okay too. We did a best match ever. That was a re-release from a Terry Funk over on this very feed. So check that out. It's very dated, but we nerd out about Terry Funk and celebrate him. But we are also going to celebrate the life and career of one Bray Wyatt, as this Thursday we are going to go live here on our YouTube, and the pod will be up on this feed after that, looking at the best matches and moments of The Fiend, the Eater of Worlds, the Great Destroyer.
Absolutely. We'll be talking all about, you know, those 6-man tags with the Wyatts versus the Shield. We'll be talking about his 2 great Rumble matches against Daniel Bryan, definitely highlights of Wyatt's career. Firefly Funhouse, the Elimination Chamber, so much to talk about. And yeah, definitely a lot of the character work of Bray as well. So send us in your favorite moments and matches. If you find some like YouTube clips of certain promos you like or whatever, we'd love to devour them this week.
Yes, we'll be catching some flies. So post up in the Facebook group. I put a thing there. You can go and write your comments, favorite matches, moments, anything Bray Wyatt. We want to celebrate and chat all about the best of his pro wrestling career and give our ways in honoring him. So rest in peace to Bray Wyatt. So we're going to be celebrating that this Thursday. We will be going live here on the YouTube, like I said.
Yes.
So looking forward to that.
Also, next Saturday, after No Mercy, I unfortunately have to work, but you'll be joined by our very own Mr. Shot in the Dark himself, Mr. Collision Course, John Ceno.
You mean John C. No Mercy?
See No Mercy, yes, to talk all about No Mercy. So that review will be live on the Post Wrestling feed. And then next Sunday, we'll be doing something a little bit different, as Braden's holding down the fort on Saturday. I'll be holding down the fort on Sunday, and I'll have a few guests. And let's just say I'm pulling a Tony Khan right now, and I'm announcing that this time, next Sunday, we'll be making an announcement.
Wow.
So tune in next Sunday at 2, where I'll be joined by some guests to talk about something new that's coming up.
Sweet. So we won't be doing a show because there will be the pay-per-view Wrestle Dream, which I'm super excited for, as we'll definitely talk and do some predictions and stuff. So I'm sure we'll give some thoughts on that probably on Tuesday or the week following and stuff. But lots and lots of AEW stuff, lots and lots of podcasts. So hit that subscribe wherever you're listening to, and follow us, text us, tweet us. I mean, you know, DM us, whatever. We're always open. We love and appreciate
MySpace, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks.
Shall we get into it?
I think so.
All right.
It's time.
It is time
to pour one out.
Pour lots out. Pour gallons
pour many.
out. Last week we talked about some office releases from WWE, and we kind of figured we might have some talent releases coming up. And yes, we did, and we're going to be talking all about them. But I guess we'll start with probably the biggest one, and I don't think this came to too much surprise. There was a lot of baggage there. You know, we had some sort of like Me Too, like sexual allegations against the man. There was the stuff in JFK airport with the accusation of, you know, a guard sexually assaulting. He was, you know, hanging out in toilets a lot of the time. Yes, WWE finally let go of Ika Minjiro.
No, wait. I think you got them confused there. Wait a second.
Wait, sorry.
I think you got the
My
wrong
notes are all over the place here. Yeah,
meant...
sorry, Riddle. Matt Riddle.
Yeah,
okay.
Sorry, yeah. He probably hangs out in the bathroom. Yeah. Matt Riddle is gone from WWE, one of these big releases. He's, you know, probably one of the bigger ones that's on the main roster still currently, you know, at least was in the past year, and so still actively doing stuff.
You know, main event of pay-per-views. Had that match with Seth. The team with, you know, RK Bro were very popular, and at a time, former US champion, hot run in NXT.
Yeah, it just seems like he had some drama and stuff with him, whether, you know, allegations that were made and kind of just seemed to disappear and people kind of forgot about. There's things of him making allegations at someone in the airport where it turns out like, no, he was drunk apparently, allegedly. So there is kind of lots of issues that have stemmed from this guy. I was a big fan of him. I'm sure he'll land on his bare feet somewhere else, in whether it's indies and stuff. We can talk about that, but I do think like at this moment it's best for business for WWE to cut ties with him,
especially with the merger. We know like Dana White hates the man.
Yeah,
he is now technically part of this company,
right?
Yeah, it's like I'm a big fan of Matt Riddle's work. I enjoy the character. I don't think the character really showed a great deal of evolution. I think the best was probably that feud with Seth, with that like split screen interview thing they did. But yeah, there was just too much baggage there. And whether like, again, these are like accusations, nothing's been like proven or like it's not seen a trial or anything like that. But when these stories keep coming up, you've got to think where there's smoke, there's potentially fire.
Yeah.
And I get
there's definitely smoke, bro.
There's definitely smoke. And I get the same sort of kind of feeling with him that we got with Enzo, where it's like, all right, maybe you are innocent, but there's so much shit going on with you. You're not worth the headache. And I'm sure Matt Riddle is on a pretty good pay from WWE. Like that's a cost cutting thing that, it makes all the sense in the world.
And that's like separating art from artist there. Again, loved his in-ring work and his old wrestling stuff, but he seemed like there was been issues constantly that it's just not worth this whole hassle. So not really shocked about that one.
Yeah, Cameron in the group in the chat saying such a shame, great talent but terrible attitude, not someone children should be looking up to. And yeah, that's true. Like I mean that was that thing with, you know, that interview with Triple H when asked about China and Hall of Fame and saying, well, we don't want kids Googling China and seeing what comes up with her. And I mean, there are so many wrestlers with bad shit. Like, I still think it's kind of, that's a bit whack. But yeah, Matt Riddle, there is so much, like, if you are Googling or whatever, and just, hasn't seemed to have grown up at all. He's a babyface guy, but he's an adult, you know, like still acting like he's, you know, Randy Orton when he was 20.
Yeah.
Where do you see him ending up, if anywhere?
Honestly, like, I'm not going to be shocked if we see him at your local indies coming soon, because he was a huge deal before WWE, being the top guy in all the indie like promotions everywhere. As for like AEW, I don't necessarily think that's where they would go for him. Someone just like, they just got rid of the problem. I don't think they need another one.
I think from sort of, you know, he's someone that clearly has rubbed people up the wrong way backstage before. You're right. You've just got over that issue with Punk.
And not trying to compare, just like backstage attitudes.
You want to keep the locker room as like happy as possible right now. And I also think just, again, the baggage we've seen with,
New Japan won't care.
New Japan won't care. It's whether he, you know, can not smoke for that amount of time.
Fair
or
enough.
whatever.
Yeah. So New Japan's not an option. New
I
Japan's
also
strong.
think just the baggage stuff, like we've seen with AEW, they won't touch Marty, you know, like, I don't see him going there. I don't see that being a move. I do see, you're right, like your indies, your GCWs potentially going back to Progress. And maybe some stuff in Japan. But I don't know. It's going to be 3 months to wait with most of these cases, and we'll see.
Yeah, I'm sure he needs to take some time to himself, because I don't know. Maybe he has an apology. He's like, I have to grow up. I don't know. Maybe there is some hope, because like, I'm sure there is money to be made with him. People were getting into him. He's pretty funny, and like we said, he's pretty good. So it is like a what if, and like as many people are gonna be like, no, TK, don't do it, bro. There's as many people, if not more, who are like, fuck yes, finally we can get the team of Rob Van Dam and Matt Riddle. So like, there is still like, you could probably, he'll land on his feet, I'm sure still.
I guess next would be former world champion Dolph Ziggler.
That's right. I mean, this one, if this was a few years ago, like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, this would have been like, oh my God. Whereas it's obviously a little later in his career, but this guy was so underused and like, I don't want to say mistreated, but this guy was awesome. Like, watching through some rough times in wrestling, he was a character and a wrestler that actually was good and stuck out. And like, anytime he was put in a match, he was the show off, as that nickname. And like, he was the wrestler, the workhorse, like the measuring stick, and he was never the guy. And I guess he learned that at some point in his career, and he was pretty complacent at being that like helping hand and everything. But he's awesome. I remember that pink shirt. It's not showing off, one of the best shirts in like that era, this modern era, and like just I don't know, his music, his look, his everything.
He was someone I was a big fan of, and I think we saw so many start-stops with him where as an audience you started to kind of lose interest. There was a point where like 2013-ish where I'd say him and Daniel Bryan were on the same level of popularity.
Sure.
There were matches going on not involving him where there were those "We Want Ziggler" chants and everything. One of the greatest cash-ins ever.
Yeah.
And so unfortunate. A guy who's pretty much been injury-free the entirety of his career. His one major injury was when he had the World Championship, like 2 weeks into the reign. And then they took it off him.
Yeah.
Which was such a shame. And he never really came back to that level after that. I will say that feud with The Miz over the IC title and IC title versus career, definitely, I'd say Miz's best match.
Easily
and
Miz's
actually
best match.
A really compelling story when they first, redid the brand split and we were having SmackDown only pay-per-views. I found that really compelling. And I think he's someone, WWE is such a hard system because you go, well, he was given his chances. He was world champion. He was main eventing things and stuff, but it's so like regimented with, scripting and who's winning, who's losing. And I'd say it's a lot harder to break that glass ceiling in WWE than it is in, say, an AEW, where you've got a bit more leeway with your creativity and allowing to break out. His wrestling's there.
I mean, you're saying WWE giving him a chance. It feels like they didn't want to ever give him the chance. The guy's fucking name was Dolph Ziggler, bro. Like, come on.
Which he got over,
Yeah, he got over that finally, and it's like it's a joke from like the Ziggler or whatever. But I'm thinking like his real name, Nick Nemeth, Nick the Natural Nemeth, will clearly be his name going forward if he chooses to wrestle. I don't
know if he'll use the Natural being in the company with Dustin.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, is it really giving someone a chance if you're like, okay, yeah, we're going to put you in this main event where you lose once every 6 months? Yeah. Like, it's okay.
I loved when, for some reason, Sting showed up and helped Ziggler beat the Authority. I was like, wow, Sting just really loves Dolph Ziggler.
Loves Dolph.
We eventually got to look at a best match ever of his work in WWE, because I'm sure, talking about where this guy will land, I would not be surprised if he is the one big true release that goes to AEW.
I think so. I think there's so many like cool just singles matches. I know it's the cliche, but handcuffs off, like him versus Kenny, like him versus like a Ray Phoenix, like Moxley, not Dean Ambrose but Moxley. Like there's loads. Hangman Page, Swerve, like the list goes on.
There's a lot of places he
tag
could go
team
to.
Stuff.
He's gonna tag team with his brother
potentially. Yeah. I do see him, unless he wants to hang his boots up and just focus on comedy and acting and stuff. There's a place for him in AEW, like absolutely.
I think he's got to strike while the iron is hot and have him and Cardona and all those guys who are going over, like him and Danielson in AEW, him and Kenny. Any of these matches, they'll gain attraction. But there's also Impact Wrestling or NWA or there's all these other places that he could easily make lots of money at and still be talked about. But again, if this happened 7-8 years ago at Bullet Club, there's a huge what if he decided to
if his contract came up when AEW was starting and he was there with Jericho, and that, as he'd have been a
huge part of
that. But we'll see. I am excited to see what's next for Dolph Ziggler, and it's really nice seeing on Twitter not a bad word said against him. Everyone putting him over on his work ethic, his attitude, just being a nice guy. I saw Alexander Hammerstone say during COVID, Dolph Ziggler was just anonymously buying all these indie wrestlers t-shirts and stuff to help support and stuff like that, which is really nice to see.
Yeah, I see him being a huge part of AEW going forward, honestly, and I can't wait to see the wrestling come out of it, but I'm sure he'll be fine. Now he'll be free of, not like you mentioned, he does comedy. I've seen him do comedy, and I know he likes to do that kind of stuff, and now he'll be allowed to do everything. Hey, it's Dolph Ziggler. He could have an OnlyFans. You know what I mean? Back in the day, Dolph Ziggler, stealing the show and your girlfriend, all that shit. I used to love that character. And I think he's a little older now. I think he would go back to maybe just a bit more of like the wrestling, something he would focus on. And I think if coming to AEW, that he'll get to showcase that and basically have matches that he's always wanted to have, and before he gets to retire.
It's a big release, but again, I'm not really surprised.
Yeah.
He hasn't, since the NXT run last year, he hasn't really done much at all on the main roster.
Yeah, he was a champ last year.
He was champ. A little feud with Ali. Bobby Roode has been out for a long, long time. Obviously, they had the tag run. They didn't seem to have much to do with him. And I imagine Dolph Ziggler's paid a lot of money by that company. He's been there almost 20 years.
That's
and
crazy.
As like a
main
eventer and stuff. So
he was Kerwin White's caddy.
Yeah.
He was in the Spirit Squad.
Cheerleader.
Yeah, he's been through it all.
So yeah, I imagine that's a big like cost cutting thing from them. Similarly with Mustafa Ali, who obviously we've been talking about a bunch on NXT, has a match scheduled for Saturday against Dominic Mysterio or Dragon Lee. But yeah, someone who is on main roster money with no plans for the main roster and working down in developmental. Wanted his release 2 years ago. They wouldn't give it to him. It is weird that they just do it now. Like, just see out.
Isn't it so weird? Wrestling, you're not even like the contract thing, right? You're what? Like the way things work is like, you're not in a union, you're not in anything. You're like this like contracted like employee.
I mean, we all know it's fucked. They're employees.
Yeah.
Like if you look at the definition of everything they do, they're employees, but no, they're quote unquote independent contractors.
Like, this guy was like, you know what? It's not working out. I'm not happy. I'm actually leaving. And then they go, no, actually you can't. Like, that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
So this guy wanted to do that. He's been put in NXT. He actually has a match this week, not anymore. And yeah, I think this is another big what if. When he was doing the light stuff and being a huge babyface, I think is where they messed up, not using him in that way. And they keep putting him in like the like weird
whiny heel,
and that wasn't right. And I know like him being someone who's just like someone that indie wrestlers look up to everywhere, like Chicago's own. And as soon as this guy
Chicago needs someone else hanging on, and it ain't Sky Blue.
It's
no
this
offense,
guy. Yeah, it's this guy. Like this guy now. So many indie promotions he's gonna pop around. So many dream matches is what he's gonna do for sure. And we're gonna get some crazy stuff out of here because he trains a lot of guys as well who come up through him. And I know this guy's just in it for the wrestling, and his heart is always in the right place. So we'll be seeing him. I couldn't imagine AEW not picking this guy up either.
What I just find weird is most jobs, like you give your 2 weeks notice or whatever.
Yeah.
You work it. Similarly, if you get given, hey, we're going to be letting you go, here's your 2 weeks notice.
Right.
You work it. They get given a 3 months paid notice. Like, just have him wrestle the match.
Yeah.
Like, just finish the story and get written out.
I guess so you wouldn't want to wrestle. I don't know. I don't know. It is strange, but
you'll get a pay-per-view payday as well. Like it's just wrestle the match and go away. I find it weird.
I want Mustafa Ali versus Will Ospreay. I want Ali versus Ray Phoenix versus all your crazy high-flying dudes in AEW and on the indies, Gringo Loco, everyone going on. Like this guy will be killing it.
Yeah, he's kind of someone. Again, I would see as someone AEW should be looking to get, even though their roster is pretty packed. But I would like to see him do a bit of a run outside of AEW before going there. Do the GCW matches.
Yeah,
do
he will.
New Japan Strong or whatever. Like I would like to see him just go around. And I feel he's the kind of guy that wants to do it. I imagine him being someone with a list of people like Cody was.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, they're kind of the big three. Who else have we got?
We got Shelton Benjamin, the gold standard. Yeah, Shelton Benjamin, who's been in WWE and then gone and back, it seems. But always another huge what if and kind of a missed opportunity. His show-stealing performance at WrestleMania 21 in that Money in the Bank ladder match when he, did all the crazy spots. I think that's when you go, okay, this guy's like pretty much like this insane athlete. Like, let's shoot him to the moon. And it kind of wasn't that way. And he always was
Team Angle as well.
Yeah, he was always like in like secondary roles. And I'm sure they tried with him. And I always enjoyed his like IC run and tag title runs. But they tried some weird shit with him too, with like his mama gimmick back in the day. But then like him coming back with the Hurt Business, I think they kind of fucked that up with them breaking up 100%. And then like, it's like so weird.
I mean, he's been back for like 7 years now.
That's crazy.
And was pretty much only brought back because SmackDown needed more bodies during when they did the new brand split.
Right.
And I think he was always going to just come back as that veteran hand.
Sure.
No real intentions to, like, you know, make this guy world champ or whatever.
Yeah.
So he's had a good run. He's got 7 years out of this last gig.
Yeah.
And, he's someone I'd see more likely doing stuff in New Japan.
I mean, he used to.
Yeah.
He did Ring of Honor in New Japan a lot before.
Like, I see a lot of these people doing, you know, the 1 week just random TK booking match on a Rampage or Collision or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't see him landing in AEW, but New Japan, I see him doing stuff.
Yeah, I was.
If he wants to keep going.
I was always a big fan of him, but I do think like they missed opportunity.
You're right. Hurt Business though, like just
F
that was had something really going, and it really like damaged him and Cedric, who like Cedric should have been the project with that whole thing.
But like so many matches that this guy's had in WWE that I've been like, wow, this guy's awesome, and I'm sure we'll be seeing another T-bone suplex or a few in the Indies or maybe AEW.
Who else we got there?
I'll just go down a list here that I have no specific order, but Top Dollar.
All right.
Not nada. Yesterday's price is not today's price, I guess. This is not too big of a shock. What's weird is it's only him and not the other two from Hit Row.
Yeah.
This guy does a lot of his own like creative stuff, the hip hop, the rapping over songs and stuff that WWE didn't really capitalize on. I do think Hit Row as a whole unit, the way we saw it originally with Swerve, is how the best form of it.
100%.
As soon as you got rid of that, I think that was pretty much setting them up for defeat. And on top of that, like on one of your big moments, he goes for the tope, and that'll just never be not mentioned by Michael Cole. So,
yeah.
And I know that's part of a bit because he's getting talked about, but this guy definitely, I want to be a fan of this guy, but his wrestling just was not there. I wouldn't even call him a wrestler, but I liked his like promos and everything, and his like drive is very impressive. So I gotta give him some respect, but not too disappointed or shocked that he's gone.
As like a heavy for Swerve, who can like cut a rap and a promo. Yeah, he was good. Like the unit was great, but it was just completely missing something when they got brought back. And he's not good enough in ring. And I think he's someone else who, you know, Twitter fingers rubs people up the wrong way as well. So it's like, let's just cut bait.
Yeah, he's someone who definitely tweets a lot of stuff and says some like comments that he kind of maybe will regret later that he's done quite a few times, including like pretty much dissing Swerve in the past little while, which I just find very odd. I could see him doing indies and stuff, but I do not want him in AEW with Swerve. I know the Mowgli Embassy, whatever they call them. I know they bring in anyone, but I don't know if they need Top Dollar.
I don't think they need Top Dollar.
Yeah. What about Riddick Moss? And Emma? They're a couple, are they not?
They are. I see them both going to Impact. I think Moss is someone who he's been in WWE a long time, as long as we've been doing Up Next.
No Cat Moss, right?
Yeah. I think he's someone for a big guy who does have some potential that we maybe haven't seen. He's pretty athletic for a big guy. Like, some of his character work got over, some not so much. Like, he was given a fucking god-awful character and somewhat made it work. I see him as an Impact project.
Sure. With Emma.
Yeah.
Emma came back and didn't
just
do anything.
slide right back into...
Yeah.
Although her last Impact run really wasn't very good. So I think the Emma from those NXT days might be behind us because I haven't really seen a great deal from her for a long time.
You need an Emma-mite sandwich.
I do.
What about Aaliyah, the chick from the Six? Man, we've been doing Up Next for a long time.
This is a huge pour one out. Like, we need to toast Aaliyah.
We need to toast to Aaliyah. They rocked the boat with this one. The chick from the Six is gone.
The record for the quickest pin in wrestling history or WWE history was Aaliyah. She was a former women's tag team champion, so all the accolades for Aaliyah.
Yeah, they really tried
Grew
with
up
her.
on TV.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. So many moments in NXT where we were not too high on her. But, like, she's from Toronto. I'm sure she'll be back in doing indie stuff and
Yeah, she's someone maybe an Impact Women's Division, but
yeah.
I don't know. Like she did improve. It took a long time.
Yeah.
She signed when she was 20 or something. She was super young, and it took a long time. But we've barely seen her the last year.
Yeah.
I don't really know. Maybe work indies. Like try to do the circuit
she was before,
and
so,
improve and things. Yeah.
Rick Boogs.
So did you see what he tweeted out?
Damn, why'd I pick up my phone?
Similar. It was, he says he got caught in a political power play backstage.
What?
I think basically, you know, like all the business maneuverings and firing people and whatever, and some people are high on people and other people are not so high on people, and he got caught there. But
damn.
Again, I see him as an Impact guy. Fun character, can do silly skits with Johnny Swinger and stuff.
He's someone who like was in NXT and not even a prominent character, but like a side character that started like being funny.
Yeah.
And then quickly was put to main roster, which I was definitely like, oh, okay, interesting. And he was a guitarist, an air guitarist, essentially. He's really funny. I don't know.
That first NXT, he showed up just as enhancement talent and made the most of that entrance, was doing the high-pitched scream, and then they posted on .com him like
the
air
full
guitaring
version,
with Kayla Braxton after. Was great. And his name's awesome. Eric Bugenhagen.
Yeah.
Like, he can go around doing the indies and do some silly shit around there.
All right, wild card here, New Japan.
But G1 run?
Japanese people, they love metal guitar.
They love big white American
dude,
man,
air guitaring. Yeah, I need it. He could be with Tai Chi.
Yeah.
Book it. That's my wild card of these picks.
What, air guitar with him lip syncing? That's a great idea.
Yeah. How do I get someone to get him on the phone?
Bugenhagen with Tai Chi.
Bugentekers.
Yeah.
With that
love it.
So yeah, pour one out for the Boogs. He gave us some laughs, so we got to appreciate that. Who else we got here? Quincy Elliott.
Good riddance.
Yeah, no big shocker here. Apparently or allegedly, this person was kind of weird in online stuff, whether it was Twitter or like lives where he was just going off and saying things about his coworkers.
Yeah, like outed Indy Hartwell and was burner accounts and going in like kind of, you know, NXT stan groups and talking shit about people and saying shit that was happening backstage.
And then the actual character was like rubbing tits in people's faces. So I wasn't
very good.
No, so I'm not too.
I was amazed this guy didn't get fired.
Yeah,
like I think there's stuff he did like is 100% fireable.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely good riddance. I don't see him going anywhere.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we'll be seeing. He'll try, but I don't think he'll be successful because pretty shitty things he did or allegedly did. Bryson Montana.
Who?
Okay, we're getting into a territory of. Well, I think there's some other ones here. I don't know why this list is this way, but Bryson Montana, I do not even know.
I have no idea who this guy is.
Someone from the PC, obviously, that we aren't familiar with from NXT TV.
Yeah, no idea.
Okay, what about Dana Brooke?
I mean, I'll let you take this one.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Leave the memories alone and don't change a thing. We can look at the good moments of Dana Brooke's career when she was what was it? She a teacher? Like she had the glasses and the meter stick.
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
Yeah. The analysis.
Yeah.
Or something like that, wasn't she?
The cat outfit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. She was paired with Charlotte for a while.
She was paired with Charlotte.
Yeah.
Yep. She did the like body flex things.
Yeah, that's what when they brought her in, she was like winner of the Arnold Classic or something like that, and they were building her up as this big bodybuilder type. I think someone who got moved up to the main roster way too quick. Needed. It was clear. Like you look at even this latest NXT run, she's someone you can clear really wants to improve. Just, you know, didn't take it up as quickly, and I think another year in NXT would have helped her a lot before being thrust in the main roster and then being positioned at a level very quickly.
Well, I'm sure she'll show up at like an Impact or something as well. I think she could fit into working some rounds still in the world of wrestling. But I'm still pretty pissed I cannot find my Dana Brooke shirt. I think it's gone. I think someone stole it.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. Mansoor, or as also known as Mansoor.
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 I mean, I guess we can talk about him and Mace together. Marseille. They're a group, I would say, try and keep as a tag team.
I think they'd stick together, yeah.
Because they've done the Maximum Male Models thing was a joke, which they got some laughs out of me here and there, but it's more their stuff they've been doing outside of wrestling, their YouTube channels and things like that. And Mansoor's someone who's actually shown a lot of personality in those videos, whether it be his, what was it, a Mauro Ronaldo impression he was doing and stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah, I could see them working as a tag team, do the indies. Two guys who I don't think did a lot before WWE. I might be wrong, but I think they're guys who should completely be exploring the indies now. Try to make that tag team work as characters, do your GCWs and stuff like that.
I think they'll be okay in the indies and get more popularity, but it's their, like, they were given chicken shit and somewhat made chicken salad of it. And I think there could have been other things, especially Mansoor. He's been put in those huge spots with like the Saudi shows, right? And then since being released, they did like a Twitch live or whatever, and basically we're saying that it was in his contract. Mansoor says that because of like the Saudi Arabia didn't want him losing on TV, so he never lost on NXT or whenever we saw him, or something along.
Yeah, he was rarely on NXT, and rarely on main roster,
because
he couldn't lose. And they were like, well, we're actually building other people up, but there's a Saudi show coming up.
It's so funny.
But yeah, I'd be interested to see those two, where they go, what they do.
Yeah, I think they'll have some fun moments down the line for sure. I'm not sure about the wrestling, but they'll show up somewhere. But yeah, they also said that they wanted to pitch to Cody, like, that one of their noses gets broken, so they wear like the mask.
They do Cody's gimmick, right?
Yeah. That'd be pretty good. They also pitched like Quentin Tarantino Reservoir Dogs type thing. I'm sure they had a lot of ideas that didn't work for them.
Yeah, I think they're two who could have done kind of what Breezango did, the Fashion Files and things like that. If they were like allowed to bring the stuff they were doing outside on TV.
Sure.
Yeah, they seem creative guys.
Daba Kato,
Babatunde Day, Commander Aziz.
Wow.
Yeah.
He came back to NXT. He didn't look too bad, actually.
He definitely improved in this latest run. We didn't see a great deal of him, but yeah. Big guy. Like, it depends. Like, I mean, he could just get an agent and play big men in movies. He's already done that Netflix movie with WWE.
Okay.
I don't know. It depends how much he wants it. Like, does he want to wrestle? Like,
yeah.
I feel big guys can always get something.
Security.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you see?
Yeah, I think he did improve, because I couldn't care about him before. But since seeing him in NXT, he's doing a few matches, I'm like, actually, you look a little different. But
he's someone, if, like, say, Impact just have a smaller guy that they're trying to get over and need a heater, you can just hire this guy to come in.
I would do that with him, yeah, for sure. This one's weird. Yulissa Leon.
This is one, like, hasn't had much talk about. Obviously, not everyone watches NXT, but we do, and we're really high on her, and really high on the tag team of her and Valentina Feroz. I'm happy Valentina's sticking around.
Yeah, big fan.
But I thought they really worked as a tag team, and I think it just comments on what a lack of care they have for the women's tag division across the board.
But why split them? I thought the team was a good
exactly.
unit. Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like, it makes no sense. Like, whenever we've seen these tag teams in NXT, they end up splitting them or whatever. And it's like, no, you want actual tag teams. Stop just putting Natalia with random partner to go for the tag titles. Let's build an actual tag division. And I thought these two were fantastic as a team. Her being the bigger one, throwing Valentina around. I thought it was a quite different team.
Yeah, I actually was becoming a huge fan of them, and I do like Feroz, and I'm interested to see, and hopefully she stays and gets something. But yeah, a bit shocking. Like, not very known to a lot of people, but I was good. Like, yeah, she was pretty good.
Chris Elliott in the chat saying, I've seen someone say Daba Kato should go to Bloodsport to defend the honor of Raw Underground.
It's true.
He can face Riddick Moss at Bloodsport. You can bring Shane back. Yeah, Matt Riddle.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah,
bro.
I mean, that's something you could have. Like, Josh Barnett versus Matt Riddle for the ownership of the Bloodsport name.
Oh my god.
You know?
Yeah.
Because it was Riddle's, wasn't it, to start with?
Oh, what? Right. Shanky.
This guy was useless.
How dare you? How dare you? How could you say that? You don't like Shanky?
No.
Let's look at all the best moments of Shanky.
Didn't he dance with the ring announcer at some point?
There, we got one.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
Shanky better show up.
And I've seen so many people mistaking him for one of the Indashir lads. It's like, he's not. Like, it's like, no, they're different people.
I did not think that, but yeah. Shanky is definitely going to be having some sort of Joey Janela death match at GCW.
Yeah, the clusterfuck battle royal.
Shanky.
Yeah, like what? They kept him for the India show and then bye.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
No improvement. Like, yeah.
Okay, there's a few names here. Daniel MacArthur,
Who?
Kevin Ventura Cortez, Alexis Gray, Brooklyn Barlow, and Abdul Fitzgerald.
Wish them the best on their future.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with these people. But Ikemen Jiro as being the last one here, as we kind of mentioned off.
Can reform Jacket Time.
Jacket Time can finally reform, which I'm pretty excited about. Yeah. It was gone too soon.
Which was he? What company was he with in
DDT or no? I can't remember.
I think it was another one. I can't remember, but I'm sure he can always go back home.
Yeah, it never worked out really. His comedy only had so many
layers to it.
Yeah.
He wears a jacket.
Yeah, it took me a long time to
Wrestle one, that was it.
Wrestle one, okay.
Yeah.
So what's your gimmick? I wear a jacket. Okay, yeah, but then when you get to the ring and it's your match, you're gonna take it off, right? Nope.
No. Plot twist.
What? Yeah, Jacket Time. Him and Kushida versus the Machine Guns in Impact.
Yeah.
Book it, please.
All right. I think.
Well, did we pour enough out? We poured it all out. We poured one out. We poured many out for all the WWE releases. Something tells me there may be even more coming soon in the next little while. So we'll keep a watch on that. And I'm, these are human beings, and I'm sure they're all gonna, for the most part, land if they want to stay in the industry. Yeah. There's so much wrestling that they can jump onto, and we kind of just listed everything that we kind of predict or maybe see them doing, and I'm sure maybe some work out and some don't.
I'd say it isn't like as easy as it was a couple of years ago when AEW would just bring in whoever. Yeah. I do think their roster's pretty full right now. I think you make exceptions for your Zigglers and your Alis, but beyond that, I wonder. But definitely there's going to be an injection in the independent scene of a lot of these people, and if people can take the Matt Cardona approach and just book yourself,
run with it.
Book yourself everywhere, change your character up and everything. I'd be interested to see what some of these guys can do.
Yeah, you gotta listen to your friends and coworkers and people that look what they've done with this. Like some of these people, look at Cardona, Steph DeLander, with her new face tat.
Mm-hmm.
What was she? What was her name in WWE? Exactly.
Ooh,
see?
Yeah.
Look at her now. So good for you. There can be like a promised land, and if you're smart and you want it and you're creative and you got the heart and desire, like it'll work out for you. I think whether or not. So we'll be seeing some of these faces down the line for sure. But yeah. What was her name though? I can't remember.
Yeah, she was with Indy and Duke and Dexter, wasn't she? Yeah. It'll come to me.
Someone's yelling at us.
Yeah.
You're the NXT guys.
I know. These people break our hearts too much when they leave. So.
Yeah, I was just
We've got to eternal sunshine them sometimes, don't we?
Just forget about that. Yeah.
All right, we've gone long on these releases, but that's all right. But let's try to whiz through the rest of the news. Persia Parada. There we go.
How could you forget that?
I know, my bad. But there was some other big WWE news this week where SmackDown is leaving Fox and will be moving back to the USA Network in 2024. I think it's estimated around like a $1.4 billion deal.
Oh my
God. Over the years that they'll be signed. Saying it'll be Friday Night SmackDown right now, but that could always move. But no word on Raw and NXT. So could this potentially mean that they're being shopped around, and they're leaving USA with SmackDown now going to USA,
which is crazy because Raw's been on USA. Like that's the show. Like that's the show there. But this is pretty crazy. So Fox wasn't happy with the what WWE was bringing in.
I think they didn't want to pay the increase that WWE were expecting.
Got you. Okay.
And didn't quite hit the numbers that they were hoping for.
I'd say SmackDown on Fox was a huge success. That show was put in so many more homes and so many more places when it got put on Fox. I think it helped bring in more wrestling fans. And I think speaking to like friends of mine, whether it's Americans and stuff, like they were like, oh, saw SmackDown still on, but it was on Fox. I watched it the other day. Yeah.
They did a way better job of making it feel like an A show as well. A lot of the time, obviously having Roman and the Bloodline as SmackDown guys, they'd be on Raw, but it did make it feel more important. You had the, kicking off on Fox with the Rock with Becky Lynch and Brock squashing Kofi.
Right. Right.
But they've built it up. You'd had Gunther's big title defenses on SmackDown and stuff like that. So I think it did a good job. Maybe not the millions and millions that they were wanting viewers wise, and just couldn't justify the price increase. But yeah, SmackDown going to USA. What do you think it means for Raw and SmackDown?
Well, I don't know if Raw and NXT would leave. I think USA is just kind of putting more chips into, because USA is NBC, right? Right. So it's like, that's more like ownership of it completely. I think companies, companies had issues where like you're on one show promoting, hey, watch this other channel because we're airing the show. And then like Raw one week is really shit. And then The Rock shows up on SmackDown. You're like, guys, like you got to give us some stuff. So I think maybe just kind of.
But if you're paying 1.4 billion for SmackDown alone, what is Raw going to be worth?
Right.
3 hours.
Is it going to just be
what is
Peacock
NXT
or like a different channel?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think from hearing stuff Nick Khan's saying, they are shopping around. Wow. I think like an Amazon is potentially interested in it and stuff like that. So could mean things move nights as well. Like if Raw does leave USA, we could potentially be seeing a Monday night SmackDown.
That's weird.
And a Wednesday night Raw on a different channel.
That's so strange if they were to do that, but I don't know.
But if that's been on USA since what, 93 or whatever?
It's 93, it was gone in 2000 and came back in 05.
Like if Monday nights has been their wrestling night forever, and SmackDown is their only property, they may want to put it there. So it's bizarre. I think you're going to see quite a few changes. Or you're right, it could be like a whole lot, but like you're talking like multiple billions of dollars then for all three brands.
Plus the Peacock deal is a deal with like the pay-per-views and stuff. So yeah, that's
so crazy. It's how invested they are for that.
Yeah, I find it shocking they're leaving Fox, but that's still, NBC is big too. So that won't be on USA, or will it be on NBC like the channel SmackDown?
On USA.
Okay. Yeah. Damn, that's pretty crazy. I mean, for us Canadians, it doesn't mean anything. I'm sure they'll stay with Sportsnet. So.
Well.
But like, to be honest, as a Canadian, who we are millennials, are we millennials? That it's expensive we're roommates. It's expensive to live in a big city in North America, in Canada, in Toronto, and you think we pay for cable? Get the fuck out of here. No, but when we do try to pay for everything to watch wrestling the proper legal way, which includes trying to buy like Sportsnet or TSN packages, they always still fuck up. So like
I mean, that's the thing as well. Are we going to start seeing deals where, yes, it's live on USA, but you can also stream it live on Peacock at the same time?
Right.
I mean, that's something that would get my money.
Yes. Absolutely.
We use VPNs. Like if you had Raw, NXT, and SmackDown live on Peacock when it airs, as it airs, for $10 a month, whatever it is you pay for Peacock, I would pay that.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, that would be it for me. I would think that's kind of the future where, hey, I know ABC does it with like, hey, tonight's Dancing with the Stars, but we put it up right away, like at nighttime or in the morning the next day. So that's what they do it. But I wish you could just access. It should just be accessible to see it.
For people that like, don't give a shit about really until we bandwagon it. Football, basketball, baseball, hockey. We don't care. We don't watch that until it's playoffs. I ain't paying $60 a month for a sports package just to watch my silly wrestling show.
Yeah, it's crazy how
Like,
the packages here are. You have to pay so much just if you don't even want the other stuff that they still make you pay. So it is weird. So maybe they do go to that kind of format in the future. But yeah, pretty interesting that Fox losing SmackDown.
Now, we're just dumb millennials here who don't really know much about, business and stocks and things. We talk about wrestling and we do our thing. But Vince McMahon's, his stocks up for sale or something with this TKO thing. I think there was an article in the LA Times last week kind of listing all of the problematic stuff that's been up with Vince McMahon, including the Montreal screw job, putting that next to sexual assault allegations and that kind of thing. He changed the finish of the match.
Bastard.
But yeah, does this feel like Vince has, made his power play, cashed in his chips, taken his money, and potentially an exit strategy is in place if, he starts bringing some negative attention to the business?
Yeah, is this just more Succession in real life with Vince McMahon and stocks? And, well, he's problematic and he's got allegations and he's got to get rid of the stocks now. And I don't know. I think he made a play to make as much money, and then if he's leaving it for sure, but is not like Triple H involved? Is there not, Stephanie's not right now, right? But like
Triple H isn't on the board either.
Yeah.
Like, so it's Vince right now is the main WWE guy on the board, but I hope he goes.
Yeah.
I've been saying this for years. Like, we've seen how much the product's got better. Reports of him saying he needed to make the deal because the product had got stagnant after they've had their best year ever in like ratings, live event attendance, merchandising, doing all these huge stadium shows. Yeah, stagnant product. Yeah. Like, you got back into WWE in the last year, like, and you've been so against it, like, for a long time. It's been dull and dry. So I want him to go just so Triple H and Sean can probably run the whole thing.
Yeah, I do think maybe there may be more smoke fire thing there because Triple H is just in the the creative role, right? And that is, I think, what he wants, and that's what I think as a fan, like, we all kind of want now. We've seen what he can do, him and Sean and everything, potentially running creative for wrestling, which is insane. With Vince absolutely gone, with Stephanie absolutely gone. I'm seeing people online adding to the discourse of Trips and Steph being split for a while now, and Shawn Michaels got caught liking some certain tweets on Twitter that definitely put a little gas into the fire of that
about Steph, right? Yeah,
pretty interesting. So the McMahon's being out of WWE, that's crazy.
Yeah,
completely gone. We'll see, but wow.
Chris Elliott saying, I think his age could be as big a part of this sale clause as anything. He's a lot older than any of the other big hitters in TKO.
So he should just run for president then. All these old people.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I just want to see him out.
Yeah, me too.
And
no chance.
Justice be served.
Should I buy some stock in TKO?
It's gone down, like, in the last few days. So, I don't think the USA deal kind of, I don't think investors saw it as a good thing.
Okay.
Potentially leaving Fox to go back to cable.
Right.
So yeah, it could be a good time. I've got an alert set on it, so when it drops below a certain amount, can buy. I think it's around, when I last looked, it was around $83.
That's way lower than it was like.
It was like 113 or something like that at one point. It was around 83 when I looked a couple of days ago.
Because you figure they announced that Rock match, that shit going back up.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's TV. Like, these are the big deals where you kind of want to start looking at buying, because if you land like a huge, like the Fox deal before, if you invested before that came through, you'd have made a healthy amount of money before the last Fox deal.
What show is this? Why are we talking about stocks?
Yeah, it's 83.79 right now.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Look at me. Look at me. Well, let's move on to talk to some actual wrestling, because we don't know what we're talking about when it comes to this shit.
Yeah.
We had a bit of a dream match this week on SmackDown. Io versus Asuka.
Yeah, dream match for me. Definitely love these two of my all-time favorites, and Io being my goat of wrestling and women's wrestling right now, being the champ We were at Detroit when she cashed in. I'll never forget.
We were, weren't we?
Just about to go to the washroom as you're like, wait,
sit down,
stop. And then her music hit. And then I was like, oh my God. And that was great.
You go to enough shows, you realize, why are all the cameramen running to the stage?
Right.
Like, sit down.
Yeah. So I was really excited, and I'm so happy that Io won the title, but it's also like, where do we go from here? And I think since being champion, I love the damage control stuff that now she's like the centerpiece instead of Bayley, which I think is way better. I was expecting you to do like some big pay-per-view matches to build up to Asuka at WrestleMania, and that was not it at all. And they just gave it away for free on TV. And I'm not trying to sound like I'm angry about this, but part of me is still like, well, in a few years now, do we go to this match on a way bigger scale? Because it wet my whistle, but it didn't quite get to like what I think and know these girls are capable of.
I think we're seeing WWE and actually AEW do this quite a bit recently, where they do the wet your whistle match on TV. I think you had Adam Cole MJF on TV.
Yeah.
You had Gunther Chad Gable, where it looks like Chad Gable's like, like having to run, like do the run to get back up to that match again, probably on pay-per-view. I feel this is it as well here, like the finish being like a little dirty as well. There's definitely like clause there for a rematch potentially on a pay-per-view, but I enjoyed the match. I'm wanting more from it.
I think then just do it at the pay-per-view.
I think the thing they're doing with Bayley, like Bayley's pretty entertaining as a character, I think now, and I think when they eventually do I assume a jealousy angle, Bayley versus Io is something I want to see, but also interested in when Kairi's going to be factored back in, because the talk is that she is coming back to the company, and I think a Kabuki Sky Pirates triple threat is something like for Mania. I would love that.
Whoa. Yeah, sorry, I had to take what you just said. Kabuki Sky Pirates. Yeah. That's the ultimate three. Like that's their triple tails.
Exactly.
That's just gonna be a team. They need to be a team again, like that.
Yeah.
The Kabuki Sky Pirates.
Yeah.
Real ones know.
That is a fantastic team.
Yeah,
name.
put that on a t-shirt right away. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm interested to see if Kairi comes back. Io versus I would like Io versus someone as a big like singles match at WrestleMania, whether it's like your Becky or your Trish or Bianca.
They're kind of putting Charlotte in the mix as well, obviously. So she's probably going to drop it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Although I think Charlotte's at the point now where she's almost caught up with her dad.
She's had 15, I think.
Yeah, where they've kind of got to make that a big deal when she hits 16. So they can't.
You're saying Io's the one they're going to do it with? Right.
But Charlotte Io sounds great as well. We had the triple threat, didn't we, on NXT?
Yeah.
We never had the one-on-one, from what I remember.
Yeah.
So that's something I'd love to see. But I want to see them elevate Io a bit more. She's still being a bit of a background player.
Yeah.
And I know the language, like, barrier can be an issue, but we've seen how much she worked in NXT, and that was on her own, not in a faction.
Isn't it like look at you know what, I have to give WWE praise when it comes to Io. When NXT did move to USA, that was the first thing you saw was Io coming out, and I never forget, like they like look at this, like we got to focus on this character, and the little bits of her when she speaks Japanese and then one or two words in English, it works really well. But WWE before, like years ago, they just do racial stereotypes instead of letting people speak like their actual native language. When Gunther starts yelling at someone in a different language, I'm like, whoa, this guy's terrifying. And Dragunov or Io or Asuka. And I think it's interesting because you look at like in the indies, that's such a big part of it, where like your Maki Ito's, her whole bit is like, I learned a new word today.
Yeah.
Fuck. Or like shit. And like people like, oh, it's so crazy. So
I always remember that Asuka when she just went mine. For the title, and it meant so much. And I think his wrestling's just not what it used to be at all. But I think they've done a great job with Nakamura. Yeah. And it's such a shame they didn't do this 5 years ago, because those like pre-recorded vignettes work so well with him. And I think doing that with Io would help. Absolutely.
I think they need to do something with Io, because I think the world can finally see how amazing she is, but they're not letting her maybe like get out a bit more, be a bit more. Are you a heel? You're a babyface clearly, because everyone cheers for you, but like get like kind of what the character.
Oh yeah, what is it? Puerto Rico and the UK?
Hometown hero in Puerto Rico. Yeah, and Toronto. I think that she's just she gets people into her pretty quickly. So.
She did. I saw her make some comments about how she thought she was going to be moving up to the main roster way earlier. Obviously, kind of COVID and the move to the USA Network and all that halted that. But basically, she was like, "Yeah, I thought I'd be here like 2 years before."
Yeah.
And when you think, it must be quite isolating a lot of the time for these foreign language speakers being in a company.
Sure.
Like, I'm sure they have bits of English here, but it must be hard to be doing this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially, you know, packing up your whole life and changing things and families and all that stuff. But yeah, I'm glad she's finally like shining, but I do think there's a lot in there that they're not even fully getting the character. Like, I still think she could be an even bigger deal. So we'll get there, hopefully, eventually.
So we had an angle on SmackDown this week where the Bloodline beat down John Cena.
Beat up John Cena.
And reportedly, LA Knight was meant to be coming out for the save to set up a match, Cena and LA Knight against Jimmy and Solo. But right before the show, he took a COVID test, and you know what it said?
Yeah.
So LA Knight was off TV this week, but which was a shame because they just killed John Cena at the end of the show, and that was it.
And then Cena's like,
I've got no friends here. Everyone's like, "Oh, champ, so glad to see you back, goat." And they're like, "Nah, we're not touching the Bloodline."
Where the fuck was The Rock?
Yeah.
That's
I was sitting there going, Rocky.
like, it's not the guy.
No.
Yeah, it's not
But yeah, seems like they are going ahead with this LA Knight push. If they're putting him there with Cena and the Bloodline, I expect probably a Roman match at Saudi.
Roman, what, LA Knight?
Yeah,
Oh,
I think
okay.
so. If they're putting him in this position with Cena and stuff, but yeah, kind of cool to see this guy rise up the ranks. But
Absolutely.
we hope he gets well soon.
Yeah. I hope he's okay and comes back so that we can get back to him on this run. And I'm sure he'll have, he won't beat Roman, obviously, but like, I think being in that mix already is pretty good for him.
I think what they found with, Sami, with Cody, and to an extent Jey Uso, even though I really didn't like the match, is like, we know Roman's going to win, but if we have a big enough babyface, the crowd are really going to get behind them. And I think it creates those moments of doubt and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool to see him being put in that main event mix. I think they'll do the AJ match at some point as well. I still think AJ's probably had some of Roman's best matches in WWE. That was 6 years ago or whatever.
Yeah, true, yeah.
But we haven't seen them face during this iteration, and he's probably one of the only main guys aside from like a Randy who hasn't faced Roman during this run.
True. Yeah, he's still a big enough player that
So that's something I think you could do. Maybe do like LA Knight at in Saudi, and maybe save AJ for the Rumble or something like that.
Sure.
Yeah. Anything else you caught on main roster this week?
No, not really. I watched that EO match on SmackDown and then kind of flew through the rest of the show and saw John Cena getting beat up, and then I was like, okay, where's The Rock? And then went, okay, where's LA Knight? And then the show ended, so I was like, oh, that's weird. So that made sense.
Something kind of has my interest is the Lashley with the Street Profits, where Lashley like tried to help them out, did some cheating, and they didn't take advantage of it, and then he was mad at them. He's like, look, I bought you these suits, I'm trying to like take you up to the
But they were dicks last week.
Yeah, but they won't cheat during the match, apparently. So they're turning them full heel. But what I'm finding interesting is I definitely think Ilya Dragunov is taking the title from Melo on No Mercy.
Yeah.
And you've done this kind of soft split with Trick and Melo. We had them on SmackDown like a month or so ago, hanging out with Lashley. And if you check Melo's Twitter, he keeps interacting there.
Yeah.
He's like, he said something to like Angelo Dawkins, like, you got to wear that suit, bro, or something like that.
Yeah.
So I could see Melo joining that team.
Sure.
And then you've got, you got your tag team, you've got Lashley as your, leader of the group, and Melo as the shining star they're going to try and bring up.
Yeah.
And I think that could really work.
Yeah. What do you call them?
The Hurt Business.
Hurt Profits.
Hurt Profits.
Street Business.
And then I think you keep Trick in NXT, a bit more seasoning, and he can always come up and, when you do the split where it's hopefully Melo v Lashley, you can have Trick in Mello's corner again to
Sure.
help him out or something
Right,
like
yeah.
that. But yeah, that's something that I'm like, okay, if you can like commit with this thing and don't just
make the
split it up, because
make the Street Profits heel.
yeah, 100%.
Freshen them
they
up for sure.
they need freshening up, and I
Yeah.
think this is the right direction, even though they've done it in a bit of a murky way so far.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of it for WWE.
Yeah, I can't
for
think
me,
of what else is kind of going on. I'm not into the Bloodline. Is pretty much when you had this huge, great movie that was successful, and
Yeah.
everyone's like, "Have you seen this movie yet? Have you seen it? Have you seen it?" And it's a whole year of that, and then finally, not even a year later, they're like, "We're hitting you with the sequel." And the third sequel, and you're like, I'm now really over this movie, and that's exactly what's been going on with whatever Bloodline.
I feel they
mini
could pick it up
feuds.
at like the Rumble or whatever,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm with you. I
care
don't
less.
really check out
Sorry.
much of that anymore.
Yeah.
Well, let's move over to AEW. We had a few big shows this week, starting with AEW Grand Slam Dynamite Grand Slam.
Yes.
Dynamite AEW Grand Slam.
Yeah, so this is the first one you haven't been to.
Yeah.
We went to the first one, which was just an experience of things, specifically Kenny and the Dragon, and then you went last year, and I couldn't even remember what happened on last year's show, except Saraya came out.
Saraya came out, and Moxley and Danielson main event.
So this was,
But to be honest, I can't remember much from the first year, apart from Omega
match?
Danielson.
Yeah, fair.
Sting jumped off something last year as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Muta. Great Muta came out.
Did he? Didn't you see Action Bronson?
Did Homicide come out?
That was at the first one.
All right, okay. Yeah, Action Bronson was there. Yeah.
But yeah, this is the first year, and I think a lot of people dropped off. I guess the popularity of AEW, I'm not too sure, but they did not have 20,000 strong fans. They had about 10,000, but still sounded loud. That's still pretty good.
10,000 people.
Yeah, that's still 10,000 people, and AEW is really good at making it look and sound good on TV, even when there's only so many people in the arena. But I'd say this was a huge success. I was not as looking forward to it as much as the previous ones, but then it totally delivered and over delivered, in my opinion.
Yeah, let's go through each match. We started with Eddie Kingston defending his New Japan Strong Openweight title.
Yeah, he doesn't know what title he has.
He's the IWGP champion as far as he's concerned.
Yeah, I have that title. Yeah.
Against Claudio Castagnoli for the ROH Championship. Claudio hasn't particularly been doing it for me. I appreciate he's a really good wrestler. I see it.
Yeah.
Eddie's been so hot and cold in this company, but doing it here in Queens, like Eddie's like New Yorker. And I think it was from that kind of Ricola bomb kick out onwards, I really got into this. I thought they built the near falls really well. And I thought a really strong opener here with a real feel good moment. Sure, it's just these two props, but
yeah,
it means a lot to Eddie. And being the Ring of Honor champion, it doesn't mean what it once did, but it still must be cool for someone like an Eddie Kingston.
Yeah, there's a lot of titles from other companies that are just like whatever, but it's a good match and a good moment, titles aside, for Eddie and Cesaro. Claudio coming into AEW was super cool, but other than like some of the big multi-man chaotic matches and stuff, his solo matches really haven't done it for me, actually. I think he's just been kind of similar to how he was in WWE, again, aside some of those other ones. So this finally was the singles match that did deliver for Claudio for me since being in AEW, and it was awesome. The crowd being behind Eddie. I knew right away with Cesaro coming out in his Ribera jacket and the
Masawa
the Masawa Kawada stuff, and then Eddie wins the same way he beat Masawa. So I thought that was pretty cool, and they delivered. They were chopping the hell out of each other. Eddie Kingston's got to call his chops the chopped cheese.
Chopped cheese?
Why has he not done that?
Our cook at work made a chopped cheese the other day.
Oh,
it was pretty good.
Sounds pretty good.
I thought this. I really enjoyed this opener. And we'll be getting into kind of our Wrestle Dream predictions, but Eddie going to be taking on Shibata at Wrestle Dream.
Which sounds awesome.
Which could be for Shibata's title as well. Just put all these on the line.
All of them on the line.
All of them on the line and put them all into one.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Let's do that.
I think this makes a lot of sense, though. I think people are going to be more interested in tuning into ROH to watch an Eddie Kingston defense than a Claudio defense.
Yeah.
I think when a babyface becomes a champion, you never expect it to be too long, especially an underdog like Eddie. I think even as champion, he comes in as the kind of expected to lose it at any point. So for me, it does put a bit more interest.
I'm not interested in heel Claudio either, I think.
No.
Same with the BCC, should just be baby faces again.
It feels like they're turning that way. I think Yuta and Claudio were the last piece of the puzzle, and you had that reluctant handshake at the end here. It's again just timing of different feuds you've had going on, where you kind of need Danielson and Moxley to be face, but you kind of needed Claudio to be heel going into this match, and now this feud is over. You can have him and Yuta just be baby faces.
But yeah, love this match. It was good. The crowd was super hot for Eddie, and he got his big huge moment. So
probably cried.
Yeah.
Then we had Jericho versus Sami Guevara. And if you know your WrestleMania 19...
Looking at tights again.
And you looked at the ring gear, you might have known how this was going.
Yeah, I love this. One of our favorite matches for sure, all-timers, Jericho and Shawn at Mania 19, which is similar because it's Seattle. So kind of...
Yep.
They're going to Seattle for Wrestle Dreams. You would have
saved it there, maybe, yeah.
Properly. But yeah, this is pretty cool. Jericho's so like hit and miss for a lot of people. He's one of my all-time favorites. Definitely one of the GOATs for me. And I thought after his Ospreay match that I was way more impressed with him than I thought I would coming off that. So I was into this match just as much. Maybe not as good as the Ospreay one, but I actually really liked it. The finish is clearly what like they were leading to with that Codebreaker shooting star. If you were there live, you're probably like, why is Sami still jumping?
Going for this. But Jericho stood up.
The way they filmed it looked great. So you got to remember that of different things going to shows and watching at home. But I actually really got into this. The gear itself made it feel a bit special for me. Again, I did clue in on that. And having Jericho beat Sami and the hug and everything afterwards was just this, I don't know. Jericho's good at reinventing himself.
The kick in the balls and then the hand to the face shoving down. I enjoyed this. I think there were a few slip ups here and there, wasn't there? There was like I think the drop kick and the like positioning of the Lion Salt was pretty off. You saw Sami just shuffling over, but there were some like hiccups here and there. But I did get into it and I liked the angle. So Sami Guevara joining the Don Callis family.
Yeah,
position as a proper heel now, which this guy, he's difficult because he wrestles like a baby face, but he's unlikable. Yeah. So it's kind of difficult.
He wrestles definitely like a baby face, but he's so heelish and everything else that like he just makes way more sense. What's odd is like I think that's a good move with him and Takeshita being two of Callis's guys. I think that's the best move possible. But having Ospreay in there is amazing because it's like, wow, there's some three talented guys. But Ospreay's not a heel right now. It doesn't make sense for
Ospreay. He's heel in AEW.
Yeah.
But he's a huge babyface.
But he's also
in New
not.
Japan.
Because if you watch him, you're like, this guy's amazing.
Yeah.
So
he's a babyface in New Japan. I want him to get out the family as soon as possible and do Guevara Ospreay.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Yeah. But I like the direction for Sami Guevara and Takeshita going in there. And I did like this match with Jericho. I thought it was pretty cool. And Jericho might be in the last few years of his career, maybe last year, possibly going forward. I know they tease it every year, but like he's still putting on some things. And I know, we're podcasters who critique and stuff about wrestling, but every time we go to these shows, there's so many people who aren't following it on Twitter and everything. They just follow wrestling because they love wrestling. And Jericho is still like someone they know from years and years ago, and that they go, oh, I'm going to watch this guy. And I know now with years removed, the whole Judas thing is kind of played out, but I'm so sick of people posting like you spent money to go to a show and people are posting photos of them being like, look at all these marks singing Judas. It's like, sorry, they paid the same amount of money, if not more, to go have fun. And if you're so like against that, like maybe
stay at home,
do something else. Yeah. I cannot stand that.
Yeah.
When I go to wrestling shows and I'm booing someone because I don't like them, whether it's the character or the person themselves, the next person beside me can cheer that person, and that's what's going to wrestling. That's what makes it fun.
Like even characters you're indifferent about, just pick a side.
Yeah,
like and boo and cheer and stuff. It's so much fun.
It's entertainment. It's a live show. So I do find like, oh, Jericho and this and that. I'm like, he still puts on some pretty entertaining stuff, and whether you like him or not.
We'll get into, as said, the Wrestle Dream card a bit later, but they have announced that 6-man tag for that show. I see maybe Jericho Sami again at Full Gear. I think you could possibly stretch that feud to then. Maybe a trilogy.
Well, Jericho's going to DDT to fight Takeshita.
Really?
In November.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Very interesting. Matt Cardona is also on that card.
That is interesting.
Jericho, Takeshita, and DDT in November 12th, I think.
Then we had Phoenix versus Jon Moxley for the International Championship.
Versus Rick Knox.
Phoenix apparently knocking Mox loopy from that stage dive,
the early one,
beginning,
yeah.
Before the match has even started, went landing on his head, which we definitely picked up on when we were watching this. And then, they went for about 11, 12 more minutes after that. Fire Thunder Driver, Mox clearly telling Knox to count it. His shoulders don't move. Knox stops before hitting the 3. Mox kind of goes, motherfucker.
He goes like, what are you doing?
And then Phoenix hits a second Fire Thunder Driver. This time, like, I don't know how he didn't kill him here. Because I've watched this in slow-mo.
Yeah.
Just lands straight on his head. 1, 2, 3. Phoenix is your new champion. Moxley suffered a concussion. He did
a concussion and nothing else as far as we know right now.
As far as we know right now, but we'll get into Adam Cole in a bit. We haven't heard that much about both these injuries, but Mox probably going to be taking some time off after this, and impromptu title switch called on the fly. But yeah, a lot to unpack here.
Yeah, I actually really loved this match. It was pretty frantic and crazy, as you would assume both of these guys in a match like Moxley versus Rey Fenix. Anytime, that sounds pretty good. But got into pretty scary territory when that finish happened. I couldn't necessarily tell that Moxley was, knocked loop because he's pretty rough around the edges.
He wrestles his style.
Yeah, he's killing people and himself all the time. So he's selling it half the time. So, he's pretty good at his job. But the first Fire Thunder Driver looked nasty, dropping him on his head. But when he didn't move his shoulder, right away, we had our friend Jesse from the 6 over. We all froze in time, as did everyone in attendance. And then it's just so awkward. And it's like, oh, wait, no, that is the finish. Okay, we'll do it again. And then he hits him with the second one, crushing him. And then that's the finish they go to. It's like, what in the hell just happened? So, what is at fault? Were things not communicated properly? When I watch it, I do think it's the ref's fault.
Me too. And I appreciate that you've got to make a decision in a split second of time, but also you're in this wrestling company. There are 5, 6 referees. You should know how to deal with this. You should be at the top of your game. And we criticize wrestlers for being bad. We criticize announcers for being bad. We're allowed to criticize these refs and not be scared of hurting their feelings. Rick Knox has been a constant one we've criticized.
Yeah.
Think of that Alex Reynolds incident last year where he was just knocked out in the middle of the ring, not moving, and like his partner's dragging him to the corner to tag himself back in, and the match is going on, and Rick Knox is completely oblivious to the whole thing. Like he should have just, maybe pause. Oh, finish the count or something.
Yeah.
I know it's easier said than done, and you're making those decisions in a split second, but
your job is, like, as a fan,
WWE, you count the fall, don't you? And
you have to count it.
Count it as a shoot.
You got to count it. It's this title. It's not the world title. Whatever. It's the prop. It doesn't matter. But to have him to me as a fan watching, I'm like, Mox is clearly talking to him. I can hear him. Why can't he? It's also where I got that out of it. I'm not just trying to shit on a referee, but
and you either
it was weird. It was jarring to watch.
It's also maybe on Mox to be like, I'm not loopy, you've got to throw up the X or whatever. Something obviously was missed in communication. I think Knox just, I don't know, he always seems just not as focused or on it as some of the other ones.
I agree.
And I think we've praised some of that. I remember one of the female refs who just caught something in WWE a couple of years ago where we were like, she was so on it right away. It's your job. That's what part of your job is.
Yeah.
It's not just counting the fall. It is communicating with the wrestlers, communicating with the back, making sure people aren't hurt.
Yeah.
Is a big part of it. And it did, like, the crowd then just kind of shat on it at the end because it's such a botch, this count. But obviously most important thing, we hope Mox is okay.
I hope the dude's okay. It was, Renee's birthday too, which has got to be scary. Going to the hospital or whatever. But I hope he's okay. I hope he can take a little vacation that he's wanted to take, go fishing, come back and have this storyline where he absolutely murders Rey Fenix and takes the title back.
Oh, it should be like a minute.
Yeah.
Just kills him.
Crushes him. But in the meantime, Rey Fenix, go have some cool defenses and title matches.
Okay, this is one of my things, and Tony Khan does this all the time. They've announced this like 4-way tag match for #1 contenders on Wrestle Dream, and Phoenix and Penta are in it. Like, stop. I know this was a change of plan, but no. Phoenix is now a singles guy
versus Penta.
He's holding the singles championship. Yeah, do an open match against your brother, whatever. But he's now a singles guy. Don't book him in tags.
Yeah,
like
this title was just in the main event of a pay-per-view. Why is it now? But again, they had plans changed.
Phoenix is great though, and maybe we've said for a long time it's long overdue. Him and Penta have had a singles run, and it's to the point where you see someone at a level, but I think he can continue the open challenge gimmick and have some spectacular matches.
I need the Penta match again. I love anytime they have to fight against each other, so it's always special. So big fan of these guys, and I know it's a weird circumstance, but kind of happy for Rey Fenix, and hope Mox is okay, man. This poor fucking guy. This guy is amazing.
100%.
Like, he's just MVP. Like, all the way through and through. I don't know. I'm just a fan watching him. He makes me think he's like the MVP of these guys. He's always getting his ass kicked. He's always doing whatever needs to be done.
Always winning the title when someone else fucks up.
Yeah.
It's like, he's going to go on holiday, but like, it's like, like I have those shifts at work. I know you had this the other day yourself where, okay, I clock out at 5:30. I'm going to do this tonight. And then you hear X, Y, and Z have just called in sick. And you're like, guess I'm not going home right now, am I?
That's John Mock.
That's John Mock.
Never gets to go home
all the time.
Go fishing and do whatever he wants. But let him do that, and I'm happy about that. But it's also funny, when we watch wrestling a lot of the time with friends over and stuff, we always joke, fucking Rick Knox.
Yeah.
And now that seems like a lot of people are in that thing. But I don't want to put all the blame on this guy, and I'm sure he feels shitty about it. But like, it was very...
He's probably unaware. He still doesn't know what happened.
Wait, what happened? Why didn't you kick out, John?
Yeah.
You told me the finish is you hitting the Death Rider, and it's 1, 2, 3. I called it like you said it.
Well, call me crazy, but I really enjoyed Saraya versus Toni Storm. I thought this was great.
Fantastic. Toni Storm is doing the best work of her career right now, and that's coming from someone who we have followed her from even her days way before signing with WWE NXT, and I think she's been super hit and miss and hot and cold of being good, and now finally hitting her stride of being one of the best characters going in AEW with this whole Marilyn Monroe celebrity in distress kind of thing. I don't even
Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah, what even is this?
Faded Hollywood
throwing
star.
Shoes. Yeah, just everything about it is just awesome. And yeah, actually liked this match a lot more than I anticipated, and it was just Tony beating up Paige for the whole match.
Yeah, they crafted it great with the near falls. They did quite a lot during P&P as well. You had the
DDT on the outside.
Saraya hitting the draping DDT on the outside.
Or Tony getting hit with it, I think. Yeah,
Saraya hitting the move. Yeah, and in the ring during P&P. I think Saraya's best match easily.
Yeah.
Really bit on those near falls. The kiss into Storm Zero.
Loved it.
With the kick out there. I do still think there's something, and I know Saraya said, like, when she came back about sort of basically nerves. Like, she had a really bad injury that ended her career for a while, and nerves about, the neck and not wanting to take moves from behind and that sort of thing. The finish with that hip attack in the corner that was missed, like, Saraya moved about 5 minutes before it was hit. I get it. It's a move to your neck and you want to protect yourself, but I still see a little bit of that trepidation with her, with wrestling, which is understandable, but it's something you kind of have to try and shake off if you're going to be doing this.
Sure.
But by far her best performance
in AEW.
In AEW. And I think Tony's character works with losing. And I think she's just going to keep on getting more and more fans here.
Yeah, she'll be champion again. I think Jamie Hayter's got to come back. Hopefully she's okay, and we go back into the mix with all these different ones. But it's definitely working. I'm happy that it is, because when Paige Saraya came in, it kind of was really flat, and maybe this direction will work for everyone.
And I think just structuring it's a lot of it is structure of match as well. How you know, picking your near falls and like doing like biting on something where, you know, Ruby gets involved. Oh, this has to be the finish. And then you get a kick out. It's a huge reaction. And I think if Saraya can structure her matches a bit like this, I think it can work. Because yeah, I think some of the character stuff is, I'm higher on the Outcast now than I was at the beginning of it.
Absolutely.
And I think it does take two to tango. And I think Saraya did step up here as well.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, I was a shocker. Like, I really enjoyed this match.
Love Tony Storm's pile driver.
Oh, it's one of the best.
Yeah.
Just how quick it is.
Killing him.
Falling into it. And then we had the main event, MJF versus Samoa Joe. This was pretty much all just Joe beating the shit out of Max.
They watched the match earlier and said, work the neck in the back, brother. So,
but we got to start off with MJF's entrance.
Oh yeah, MJF coming out with first he's got the video, right? The NFL Bret Hart thing where it's Bret, but it's MJF. This was shot for shot, and it was pretty funny with the adoption thing. But yeah, I've already watched the comparisons with the Bret side by side, and it's so funny. This little kid was fantastic. You're adopted.
Yeah, so funny. And then the match itself, Joe just beating the shit out of MJF.
New York State's favorite son. He's got all the different like sports teams. He's just making sure if you're from
like
New
a
York,
retired lacrosse team on there.
If you're a New Yorker, you got to see. I have everything.
Yeah.
I saw like Buffalo on there. I saw everything.
Kick out from the Muscle Buster was a huge point in this match I bid on because I've been telling the story with MJF's neck, and then the finish with the chain and the wrist tape. I called it.
Yeah, if MJF says he's going to beat you in one specific way, he usually tells the truth, because that's what happened here as he chokes out Samoa Joe with his own wrist tape and his own move, the Coquina Clutch. And then this time, when he got his arm raised, last time when he beat Punk with it, it fell, and the ref, Bryce, who notices everything, saw it and was like, wait a second, reverse decision. This time, he saw it fall and he kicked it to Adam, and then Adam put it in his pocket and like got rid of the evidence kind of thing. Which I thought was like a nice little nod to that, which had this whole feud was a little nod to something that turned into this. I really got into this match. Joe was just like this bad MFer, just beating the hell out of him. The epic photo of him doing the senton while putting up the middle fingers.
My friend Scott took that photo.
No way. Yeah. Oh, it's so awesome. He hitting that move, the table spot on the outside. Everything was great about this, even to the point where I did truly believe at one point that Samoa Joe could win this.
I think the way the story was going, you could totally buy Joe, like, you know, Joe winning this, and then Adam Cole beating Joe, and then you set up MJF Cole.
Yeah.
But roles reverse.
Exactly.
The handshake, do you think, because I could read this two ways. You could read it, Joe didn't know this wrist tape was involved and was like, wow, kid, you beat me, respect. Or also, these are two heels who, I mean, Joe doesn't cheat a great deal, but it's like, it's part of your repertoire. You're a heel, you cheat. Yeah. And he's like, fair play, you got me.
I guess he just thinks
it's
he choked
fair
him
play.
out.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But kind of a cool moment.
We got to get Tony Schiavone to ask him, Joe, what did you watch this back? He choked you out illegally, and maybe Joe will give his thoughts.
But I thought a really entertaining match. I wouldn't mind seeing them go at it again down the road at some point. Joe's been so good. Like, I think we had that match with Karrion Kross, his one match in NXT where he didn't look good. And then to start, when he came back into AEW, we were like, okay. And then, had those derby matches where you're like, okay, you've still got gas in the tank. I think going against smaller guys that he can beat up is the way to go. And obviously he has that incredible wrestling mind, can put together an entertaining match, and his character work is just great, just being this bad MF.
Yeah, like he's so good and scary and big, but then he's also just so good at talking and commentary and all this stuff. So he'll always be in the business and always working, and maybe even more Hollywood stuff when the strike's over. And because apparently he was supposed to be busy filming stuff all like this whole run.
Metal and all
that.
Yeah,
he wasn't even supposed to do All In until like this kind of stuff. So I don't know.
But MJF again once again backing up how good he is in ring.
Oh man,
he's not just a promo.
Untouchable.
I don't hear that kind of criticism much anymore.
No, not at all.
He's doing this babyface run, meaning he's wrestling every week, unlike when he was a heel. You get to see how good he really is.
I love this match. I love Grand Slam. I I thought it over delivered. My excitement for it was not as big as before, and it totally blew the expectations. There's everything on it like was super entertaining for me. I think the main event was my favorite match.
Me too.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, Adam Cole visited Roddy in hospital twice.
Yeah, this was scary. We clocked it right away.
Yeah.
We watched him jump, and we're like, "What the hell is Adam Cole Spider-Man?" He looked like he maybe have tripped over a camera guy or something. It was a long.
It was a
jump.
It was a high ramp,
Yeah.
and like you had the same issue with Phoenix's dive. Like it was a high ramp, and he just jumped, and maybe it was higher than he thought, and kind of just lands awkwardly. We then see him limping.
He was limping right away, so it made me like scared for him.
And the last I heard was he was seen leaving the hospital in crutches.
Oh,
so I mean they've got a match scheduled for Wrestle Dream. We'll see. Hopefully it's just a sprain and it's something he can get over pretty quick. But if it's a tear or a break or whatever, that's really unfortunate because this is such a hot run at the moment, and
it could be
and he's just come back from a long injury as
like
well.
I'm imagining Full Gear was him versus MJF again or something along these lines. They gotta go like the pay-per-view match for MJF and Adam Cole is them versus the Righteous. So like not necessarily needing that should not be a pay-per-view match anyways, but obviously I'm assuming that they're gonna go towards Bennett and Taven for like those Ring of Honor titles. So they got some ideas there and plans, but yeah, this could throw a little bit of a monkey wrench if he's getting injured because people are so into the storyline. I hope he's okay, obviously being one of our faves, but even if he's injured, I still think that could be also a blessing in disguise of having
you just have him and Roddy next to each other in the hospital bed, you know. Bzzz.
Him with Roddy just keeps out Roddying himself.
So funny. The slow lift up and then the slow going down in the bed.
No Roddy slander ever allowed in this house or on this show. Just so fucking funny, so good. So loving this whole storyline with the neck strong and the kingdom, is that what they're calling themselves? Just loving that. I couldn't care less about the kingdom before, but now I'm like, them and Roddy are just so funny with this whole guy over the top stuff. So definitely looking forward to that. Maybe you do Roddy versus MJF.
Oh, I think that's a match you got to get to at some point, 100%.
Since we got Joe, right? So.
I don't think that's a Full Gear match, but I see that being a big TV event.
Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, Grand Slam was great. I didn't check out all of Rampage, sue me, but I did check out some of the important stuff coming out of it.
Yeah, I saw most of it. I saw, the tag match with Sting and stuff, and I saw the Kenny Omega save. So Kenny's back. So
Kenny saves Jericho from a beatdown, and then Don Callis has announced that Sami and Takeshita and Will Ospreay will take on the Golden Lovers and Chris Jericho, the Golden Walls, on Wrestle Dream, which I'm actually super into.
We thought we were getting a singles match start with Coda and Takeshita.
Yeah.
So Ibushi hidden in a multi-man match again.
Yep.
I'm intrigued because I haven't really been impressed so far. And he's one of my favorites, but this match does sound pretty fun.
It sounds insane, like definitely a dream match with all the different people on here involved. So I'm super looking forward to this, and I think again this pay-per-view is looking pretty stacked, and it makes sense with Callis having like Sami in his corner and different people kind of in his family. But yeah, the Righteous won that match that got them that Wrestle Dream title shot. I'm trying to think of what else.
I do think they this was the first Rampage I even considered putting on in a long time.
Sure.
So I think they did a good job. Like every show this week had some like interesting stuff on it.
The Elite,
yeah.
They're the Ring of Honor triple tag.
So yeah, the Hung Bucks are now the Ring of Honor triple tag champions, which is interesting because we haven't really heard much of Ring of Honor. They were like heavy Ring of Honor when they first purchased them.
Yeah.
And then kind of got really quiet with Ring of Honor. And now you're at a point where the Bucks and Hangman are Ring of Honor champions. Joe's a Ring of Honor champion. Eddie's a Ring of Honor champion.
It doesn't make... It's too much. It's so silly.
Well, it's like... I don't know. I
mean, Becky Lynch is NXT champion.
No, what I mean is now you're moving all these titles onto main featured AEW characters. Are they potentially looking for some sort of deal again?
Right.
I don't know. It feels maybe that way, like taking it off of your Mowgli embassy and all that.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, Hangman's stuck with the Bucks for now.
Yeah.
Which we don't really want.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're in a huge pay-per-view match. Let's make sure you're the triple tag champion.
All right, let's go on a Collision.
Yeah, I checked out Collision yesterday as well. Something that's kind of involved on Rampage and I guess on Collision is the Mike Santana.
Yeah.
How he left his friend. He doesn't want to be his partner. And then now Ortiz is like, yo, like, what the hell, bro? And this is clearly setting up a match between them down the line.
So this is real life beef that they've agreed to work as a match.
Is this real life beef? Has it always?
So.
Is it legit like this? Because Mike,
it seems legit, yeah. But they've both agreed to.
Mike Santana thinks he's the Sean of the Rockers that is proud and powerful. And then after watching both promos this week, I can tell you that Ortiz and his hats are gonna go way further than Mike Santana. I'm sorry if I'm gonna ruffle some feathers, but Ortiz, I think, is the star compared to Santana.
I've always seen it the other way around.
Me too, but not now.
I think Santana's cut some really good promos in the past. I do just find this weird timing or whatever. Like, it's not quite gelling with me.
Yeah.
Personally, I do think I respect Santana for, you know, betting on himself and trying to become a single star. But I think there's so much more money in them as a tag team in AEW.
Me too.
Especially since they never had that tag run.
So bizarre.
But if you're not enjoying what you're doing anymore, you've got to change it up. So,
Sure.
Once the match comes around, I'm going to check it out. I don't necessarily see it being on a pay-per-view, but they've not announced it.
No. He's just going to beat up
but I'll check it out. But the main thing was the main event for me, which Ricky Starks, Danielson in a Texas death match, which...
in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
I'm going to get it out the way once again. This isn't a Texas death match. It's a last man standing match.
Yeah.
And also what bothered me is in this one, they were going, the only way to win is not answering the 10 count. Whereas the last time they did a Texas death match, it ended with Jon Moxley tapping out. So just call it something different.
Yeah.
You're not in fucking Texas either.
Yeah.
But that aside, love the match.
Yeah, another great match. Ricky Starks with that huge dive into the plants in the front row was great. These two have great chemistry. Ricky Starks has definitely raised his stock for me in the past Danielson feud, specifically these two matches. I'm sure he'll be great in WWE when he goes. But Danielson is like, oh, I have a dream match next week in my hometown.
That I couldn't do last time because I got injured after I got choked out by a ring rope. Better do a match where I get a chain
Texas death match
wrapped around my neck for a lot of it.
This guy is insane, and I love it so much. But yeah, I was really into this episode of Collision actually. Whether it was RVD and Taz's kid teaming up to Christian Cage winning the TNT title.
Which makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, to this, like, I thought this was one of the better collisions in quite a while because Jay White and Andrade really had a great match as well.
Yeah, it was a pretty stacked collision.
Which is weird because every week you got to look at the card and be like, am I watching this?
Am I watching it? Yeah, I really enjoyed this show. Danielson, Ricky Starks. Ricky just keeps on proving himself to me. I think he's great on the mic. I think, you know, having these bloody matches, watching him just get pummeled in the face by Danielson, it does win some respect with its audience. I think back to, you know, way back when, like ECW, Tommy Dreamer getting beaten up by the kendo sticks. It's what people like ended up going, all right, wow, okay, he's taking a beating there.
Yeah.
And it does win respect, you know, bleeding. You bleed with the BCC. But I thought this was excellent. The spot where Danielson's being choked out and kicks off the turnbuckle, you're just going, please don't just snap your neck or die here. But yeah, Danielson not holding back on this final countdown run he's doing, and I fully expect him and Zach to main event.
That should be the main event, yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed, as you mentioned, Christian Cage winning the TNT title.
Love it.
Which makes, whole lot of sense. Luchasaurus picking up the title for the first time during the match. So, you know, you're teasing dissension there. And, you know, you got to split them up so Christian's other partner.
Well, no, we need Christian's former partner to come in and take the title from him.
or all that too, yeah. What else? Jay White, Andrade. I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I love the Bang Bang Gang.
Yeah.
They have a new shirt that's still not even up yet. It was like black t-shirt, obviously. Huge gold writing that just says Bang Bang Gang. And like, if you were just to wear that in public.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want that and the neck strung.
Yeah.
Those are going to be my 2 purchases coming soon.
I really enjoyed FTR versus Workhorseman as well. I think Workhorseman, we watched during COVID when we were watching bits of Evolve. We saw both Anthony Henry and JD Drake, and they both really impressed us. I think JD Drake, you know, being in that silly faction with Peter Avalon and stuff didn't really help him. But watching this match and seeing like exactly what they can do, those chops. JD Drake has some of the best chops in the game. But the moonsault, which clearly most of that crowd had never seen this guy work before. And like, holy shit, that guy did a moonsault. I thought it was a really fun match. And I liked how they kind of put a little seed of doubt in your mind by going, the match is FTR Aussie Open next week, regardless of whether FTR are champions.
Right.
So just putting, obviously, we don't believe the Workhorsemen are winning, but also you absolutely don't believe, it's going to be Workhorsemen versus Aussie Open next week. So I kind of liked that little detail. And I actually thought Aussie Open were pretty fun on commentary.
Yeah, they sounded pretty good with their Aussie accents, hyping up their match for Wrestle Dream as well.
And I like that they kind of, both FTR and them brought up, look, we're kind of done with you jobbing out to people now. Like, now be what we know you can be.
Yeah.
And we want that Aussie Open from last year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really excited for that match at Wrestle Dream.
Yeah, AEW were pretty stellar with their 2 shows this week, and they have one more week before Wrestle Dream, and I'm definitely looking forward to this pay-per-view. It's one of the best looking cards in quite a long time, and let's quickly maybe do some predictions.
Wrestle Dream.
Bryan Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr., and the winner technically can be called the best technical wrestler, the Bryan Danielson Award winner.
Yeah,
Danielson wins this match.
Yeah.
He beat Okada, goddammit.
Yeah, it should be Danielson.
He tapped out Okada.
And like, really, like, yeah, Zack Sabre Jr. isn't a like AEW guy. He's not like, he's prominent in New Japan, but he's not protected in New Japan. So it probably will be Danielson. But also Danielson's a weirdo where he might just want to put over Zack Sabre Jr. It's like, no, you're the next guy.
Yeah.
So I don't care. I'm really looking forward to this match. I do want to eventually see a Danielson title run in AEW.
Yeah.
I don't think now is the time. We've already had the match between him and Max, but like, it's got to be at some point during this final countdown run. But yeah, I can't wait for that. That's going to be fantastic.
Bryan Danielson, Zack Sabre Jr. is definitely.
Please don't wrestle on Dynamite. Don't do anything physical between now and Sunday.
Yeah, please don't. I do think, though, a big end game in the next year is Danielson versus Ospreay at some shape or form.
Yeah, Ospreay said he's the one guy he hasn't faced yet.
And that's got to be a huge
100%
match for sure. Hangman Page versus Swerve Strickland. Swerve, why not? Draw.
I think you give Swerve the first one.
Me too.
You're kind of playing, you know, that promo where it's like, Hangman, you're unmotivated. You're a little bit overweight right now compared to how you used to be. I think Swerve needs it. Swerve is someone who keeps on taking L's. This is his biggest match so far. Beating, you know, former champion, a big star in Hangman. And then, you know, Hangman's at his best and most sympathetic when he's doubting himself and playing the anxious millennial cowboy. So I think he takes the L here, and then we'll probably get a trilogy or something here that Hangman ultimately wins.
Yeah.
And comes back and probably solidifies him as, you know, a title contender or something.
I agree with that.
But you got to give Swerve this one.
Yeah, I think Swerve needs to take the first one to get the story going, because I'm sure we're seeing a rematch at Full Gear.
Yeah, this has been great though. I'm loving this build.
Yeah, I've been loving Swerve, man.
He's so good.
Finally showing off like
what he can do
for sure and this will be his biggest match to date. And he's a Seattle boy too, right? So
it's hometown as well.
He's gonna have an epic entrance, and Nana's going to be doing the dance for sure, which I'm so happy. I love when things in wrestling get mainstream popular, like the Nana dance.
Yeah.
So he's been everywhere doing that. All these people are like, what's going on? What's AEW? One guy does this. where he humps the air and the other guy does this. What's going on? What is this? Where do you know this from? What song is this from? Oh no, it's from wrestling. Oh, okay, cool.
I have added the song to my playlist at work.
Swerve when I drive. I mean, it's pretty much advocating for drinking and driving, but it's it's a song.
It's wrestling.
Yeah, I do not advocate. It's wrestling. They all do it. That's not okay. But you're not wrong. FTR versus Aussie Open. I think FTR take this.
So it's exactly a year since their last match when FTR beat Aussie Open. I think you could give it to Aussie Open.
Okay.
Like, who's the next team for FTR to face, really?
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying, if you take them off FTR, then what the hell are they going to be doing? They're the big draw in tag team right now.
They are, but you can do Aussie Open, the Young Bucks. Like, you've got this 4-way match, number one contender we'll get into. I don't know. It's one of the matches I'm most looking forward to, but is it something that could really help Aussie Open?
Sure.
Like, make them a bit more credible. Have a classic against FTR and win. You can do the rematch down the line, like 2 out of 3 falls or whatever, or something. Yeah, all right. I'll go Aussie Open.
Okay. All right. I'll go FTR. But I'm not sure what to do with either teams afterwards.
That's the thing.
Yeah. They don't have a lot of tag teams right now that are like at that
credible
level. Yeah, exactly. So we need that GYV.
True.
We have
the ENC.
Or the Righteous taking on Better Than You, baby.
Yeah, they've put a lot of steam behind the Righteous really quickly, showing some vignettes, having them beat the Hardys and win this match. A bit confusing. Like, not confusing, but like just a bit out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I appreciate we just said there is a lack of credible tag teams. They're putting stuff behind these guys to try and make them credible. I haven't really watched a great deal of them in the past. And it's clear that we're not ready to take the titles off Cole and MJF yet. That Kingdom match will happen at some point.
Yeah, and they'll be the ones to take.
It's too soon to do it right now, I guess.
I guess because it's Ring of Honor titles you want against Ring of Honor teams, which they don't care when it comes to other titles, clearly. But it should have been the Hardys, I think. That's for the pay-per-view.
I think so, yeah. I kind of like their music, though. The Righteous. Yeah.
They're cool. I liked Vincent in Ring of Honor years and years ago. He seems like a creative. And there was talks of him in WWE and stuff, wasn't there, or something?
Yeah, like he was at some NXT shows or something in the crowd, and like,
he's got the Michael Myers mask as his knee pad, right?
But yeah, hope this is one that, well, firstly, hope it actually happens. Hope Adam Cole's okay.
Right.
You could totally do with MJF in this current babyface gimmick, him doing the 2-on-1,
right?
Fighting for his
Roddy
friend.
Helps him win.
Maybe, yeah. There's certainly stuff you could do there, where if Adam Cole is out of action, like didn't Britt Baker do a match where she was on crutches or something like that terrible one with like Rebel and
which one? Oh, that one, yeah.
You know that, yeah. But she was like on the apron the whole time, not working.
Yeah,
you could always do that with Cole. But yeah, I hope it's one that over delivers and Righteous kind of turns some heads as well.
Sure. Jericho and the Golden Lovers versus Team Don, the Don Callis family. I think Kenny gets pinned again.
I think so. I think you've got to continue. I think it doesn't, like, these guys have to get the victory in singles. Yeah. Surely that's bigger. Kenny finally beating Takeshita or Will or whoever in singles. So I think I think the family in this one.
I think we're getting Kenny Ospreay 3 at Wrestle Kingdom. Flights are expensive, so I'm not going. Yeah. But I do think so. Keeping Kenny mixed in with the Don Callis stuff is going to stretch out so that we do get that Ospreay match there. But I do think we'll get more of Takeshita Guevara being involved in different matches, whether it's
we can potentially do different combinations now. Kenny versus Guevara and Jericho versus Takeshita.
Exactly.
Coda in 6-man tags.
Yeah, that's all he wants to do is just hang out with his friends in 6-man tags and moonsault his phone. But yeah, I think the family win this one again. Yeah. Christian versus Darby in a 2 out of 3 falls match for the TNT title.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to this
Me too.
one. I've been enjoying this feud, and I think Christian does still back it up in ring.
Yeah.
I see it staying on Christian.
Me too.
I think Darby's had his, like, he doesn't need another TNT title run. He's already had 2.
Yeah, he doesn't need it right now.
He needs to be moving up to bigger things.
Yeah.
Do you see any angle here?
Edge.
Yeah.
Adam Copeland, Sexton Hardcastle coming in. No, I don't know. I see Christian. It's 2 out of 3 falls, so he's gonna do something cheeky like DQ stuff early, and then get him hurt and beat.
That
him.
makes sense.
Something like that.
Do you see the Luchasaurus turn on him now, or I think you maybe play it out a little bit?
Yeah,
because
maybe.
I think we're eventually going Christian Luchasaurus for this title. I would think.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
So we're both going Christian?
I think Christian, yeah.
All right.
Eddie Kingston versus Katsuyori Shibata.
I mean, Kingston's just won this.
Yeah,
He's got to retain. But
yeah.
Again, looking forward to this. Shibata, I take him when I get him, you know? Like
he seems to be on the pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Just like, we're going to book him in a match for you diehards.
Yeah.
It's like when a band is like, we're going to play this B-side from this record from the 90s we did. And you're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
I know what that. Because you go to these shows, you'll have like us be like, oh my God. You'll have Eric Marcotte crying. And then you'll cut to like the family who don't even know who this guy is.
Yeah.
So it's like, it is weird, but people do appreciate him when we can and while we can. So yeah, I think Eddie takes this one. Julia Hart versus Statlander.
Yeah, okay. Statlander.
I like Julia Hart's music.
Yeah, it's cool.
Nice. Yeah, it's nice. I thought it was Within Temptation. It sounds like that.
I love that band.
Yeah. And then the Young Bucks versus the Guns versus Lucha Brothers versus Orange Cassidy and Hook. Because reasons.
To potentially take on like FTR or Aussie Open. It's for that, not ROH, right? Orange and Hook.
Okay.
I think like that seems, if it's against FTR, I think.
I mean, the Bucks just
we
won
haven't
titles.
done FTR Lucha Brothers for a while, have we?
No.
But as we said earlier, Phoenix is your international champion. Not that
matters.
Stops them, but yeah, Bucks are already trios champions. We've just had that match. That doesn't make sense yet. So, and I don't think it's the Guns.
Not yet, as much as they're growing on me.
We've seen Guns FTR a bunch.
Yeah.
If it's Guns Aussie Open, that's 2 heel groups. That doesn't really work. So I think it's either Lucha Brothers or Hook and Orange.
Let's push the Lucha Brothers. Be like, look, they've won singles titles. They're championing. They're going for the tag titles now. Like they're getting heat behind them again, which they're.
And I don't think we've done that match since, like when FTR first came in as heels.
Yeah, I didn't like their rivalry before. It was off. Before. Yeah. A redo of that could be pretty good. So yeah, Wrestle Dream looks pretty good. It looks pretty stacked. These are 9 matches announced so far, and I'm not sure if some of those are on pre-show or not, but maybe they add even more.
I'm gonna give credit to AEW. I think they've built this pay-per-view better than they've built most this year. To be honest, I mean, there's still your thrown together stuff, but I think the sort of main ones have had a decent build compared to the last few pay-per-views we've had.
Yeah, no, I think this one looks great, and I think they're finally doing a good job of getting back on track and just creating some good wrestling, some good entertaining shows and TV and everything. So it's been good time being a wrestling fan. So much different stuff to watch, whether you like one thing or the other. Like, you can't go wrong. There's just so much of it right now. Even Impact announcing Ospreay and Speedball for Bound for Glory. That match we never got. So I'm definitely going to be checking that out. 100%. So like, there's so much good wrestling. Look at WWE announcing Elimination Chamber in Perth, Australia.
Yeah, we didn't mention. Well, we kind of mentioned it last week, I think. But yeah, that's huge.
Like, it's weird that it's in Perth, because I'm like, there's the 2 other main huge cities in Australia. I think of the Melbourne Stadium,
fee, isn't it? Perth are paying for it, I assume.
Got you. Okay.
Same with the Puerto Rico show.
Like,
and all that.
even people in Australia, they're like, fuck, I gotta go all the way to Perth to go to this thing, which is like not necessarily cheap either. But I'm assuming there's enough people in demand in Perth for them to do this there. So cool and good on them.
So you've got Rumble in a stadium.
Yeah.
You've got Elimination Chamber in a stadium.
Crazy.
You got Saudi Arabia stadium.
Yeah.
You got WrestleMania stadium.
2 nights.
2 nights, and who knows what we got for the rest of it. SummerSlam will be in a stadium.
Obviously, Money in the Bank. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty crazy. So WWE, obviously the Goliath of a company, just doing crazy things with TKO and all that. Who knows what's to come. But it's cool seeing all these other like companies doing well too. Like I mentioned, like your DDTs in your Japan, GCW doing shows in like Europe and Germany and stuff, WXW, and just wrestling is just so much thriving. But I really loved Grand Slam. I even loved Collision, and I'm super pumped for Wrestle Dream next week. Thinking Dream Slam, thinking Joshi wrestling, right?
Karen's article.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Shout out Karen, who was talking about that new Joshi company, Sukaban.
Yeah.
Which I tried to watch, but I haven't re-downloaded TikTok.
So Way managed to watch this.
On TikTok?
Yeah, and then I went on TikTok, and it's pretty cool. They've got like every like character's sort of, you know, dating profile. Like, hey, I'm such and such. I'm from this and that. They've got them as like little TikToks. I couldn't find the actual show though.
Okay. Weird.
Which is a problem.
Yeah, I tried to find it too.
If it's you can only watch this live as it happens on TikTok, that's a problem. Maybe I'm just like, I still don't really understand TikTok, so maybe that's a big part of it. But cool idea. I guess this is the like US Joshi promotion.
So it's a bunch of Joshi wrestlers, but it's in New York.
Yeah.
This has been talked about for a while, but it'd be cool if they put like matches on YouTube or something, like trying to get some steam. TikTok is, you know, the way kids watch stuff, and sure, but to actually have it somewhere to watch, not just on my phone. I don't even know if I could cast TikTok.
I think you can.
Okay.
I don't know.
The kids do it all.
Because you can get TikTok on your computer.
Yeah.
Like I've been.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you can then like cast it off that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not watching a wrestling show on my phone.
Yeah, I can't do that.
But yeah, interesting idea. I hope. Is this weekly? Like, what is this?
Yeah, it's a weekly show.
Okay, hopefully I can work it out next week.
Well, I've been watching WoW, and they've had a few changes there with some people like leaving and clearly going to like WWE and other places and stuff. But they stepped up on their like production a little bit and stuff. But like I said, lots of wrestling. No matter where you turn, you cannot avoid it. Even when I watch TV shows, they start bringing up wrestling and stuff. I'm like, it's just everywhere now. I love being a fan. Well, I guess that's it for this week. We talked a lot there. Lots of WWE, AEW. We appreciate you guys listening to us and hanging out with us. And we mentioned we'll be live Tuesday after NXT for the Go Home show for No Mercy. Me and you will be live on Tuesday. But then See No Evil and myself will be live right after No Mercy Saturday night on the Post Wrestling YouTube. So if you're going to be watching No Mercy, Diggity Dog, join us right after as we run it all down. You're going to be live here on the Sunday.
Yeah, join me next Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern time with some special guests for a big announcement. Huge! It's going to shake the foundations of podcasting to its core.
Absolutely. So tune in for all the other stuff. Poisonrana.ca for links of everything that we do. Hit that subscribe. Follow us at PoisonRanaPod, Twitter, Instagram for everything. And hey, so many more podcasts over on our Patreon. Oh, and I mentioned Thursday, we're going live 2 p.m. for Best Match Ever Bray Wyatt. So I expect you fiends to show up for that as well. So thank you guys. I myself, Braden Herrington, Twitter, Instagram at the Bray D.
And you can find me at Davie Portman.
That's it. That's all. Take care. Goodbye. Be safe. And leap, my frog.
Ahoy!
Poisonrana.